What's up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the hktpodcast. And it's a brand new year. What better way to kick off your year than cleaning out your old underwear drawer, wipe that slate clean, and ensure you are kicking off every day with a pair of Saxx underwear. For me, I've been doing a little bit more work in the gym recently, so I've been religiously putting on a pair of the Saxx Kinetic boxer briefs. They offer supportive fit, they are anti-odor, moisture wicking, and they are basically a performance workhorse. So whether you do CrossFit, mountain biking, cycling, running, whatever it is you get up to, if it's hypertrophy and you're going to get a bit of a sweat on, check out the Kinetic Boxer Brief. They also feature the patented ballpark pouch. For more information, check out saxxunderwear.com or just ask for Saxx underwear in your local bike shop, outdoor retailer, or skate store. It's that simple. And tell them we sent you. We are also supported by 35bikes.com. 35 Bikes is our in-house brand here at Hooket Products, and we are dedicated to bringing you the best bike components for the best prices. We recently launched a brand new range of mudguards, which is made right here in Sheffield. We improved the thickness to make them a little bit more stable. We have 5 new designs, and we also do brake pads, which at this time of year is pretty bad out there, guys. Make sure you've got a fresh set of brake pads in your bike. Prices start at just $6.99 for organic brake pads, $9.99 for sintered, and we also do brake rotors and a bunch of other products too. Just check out 35bikes.com, and what's better than that is enter promo code podcast and you'll get 20% off your entire order, and you will also be able to take advantage of free shipping. That's 35bikes.com, enter promo code podcast and you'll get free shipping globally. All right. Let's get on with the podcast. Hand over to Ollie Wilkins and some main event.
Welcome to the Hooket Podcast, endorsed by @ODub_23. Add me, tag me. Follow me. Please follow me.
Boom. Yes, hot damn, it feels good to be back doing one of these things. It feels like forever ago since episode number 64 with Matt Jones. So here we are, guys, episode 65. And first of all, I want to say Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a great Christmas, and thanks for all the engagement in between Christmas and New Year. We did a bunch of social media polls and posts and stuff, chatting about goals and New Year's resolutions. That was super cool. For me, I actually managed to take some time off. In fact, it was my first week off in just shy of 3 years. So I was ready for a break. It was cool, managed to disconnect a little bit, think about the direction of Hooket and the podcast, and set some things in place for 2019. And I think it's going to be a great year, guys. I'm ready to rip. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun year. And I hope everyone out there is as stoked for this year as me. First things first, let's give away some Saxx. All you have to do if you want to win some Saxx underwear is leave a review on iTunes. If you can write something, that is basically where I get the prize winners from. So write a little review. Don't just leave the stars, just make sure you write something as well. And you will basically win a set of Saxx underwear for leaving a good review. This week/episode's winner is @Downwall1. And the reason why is because he left his review on Christmas Day, which I'm going to send you some extra stuff because that's commitment right there. You should have been talking to your family maybe, but no, you're on iTunes, you're writing a review about the podcast, so massive props, Dan. If that is you, reach out on Instagram or drop me an email and I will send you some Saxx goodies out. A little bit of an update as well on Project Change. I know it's really tough to raise money in December. People are thinking about Christmas. It's probably not necessarily the first thing on people's brain, but I'm super stoked that we've already managed to raise, just checking now, just over £1,100. And that money is going to be so useful for people, guys. We're going to use it to buy basically adapted bikes, for a disabled charity in Sheffield. And we're also going to use it to buy bikes for a charity which gets people who are suffering with mental illness off the hospital wards and out cycling in the local parks. So if you haven't donated, or you just want to have a read and share the story, just click the link in the show description and you will find all the information about Project Change. Obviously, I can't begin to express how grateful I am so far for everyone's input, your shares, your donations. It's making a world of difference. And also, massive props to the guys at Marion who have stepped in and are going to donate some bikes as well. For every one that we buy, we will get a free bike. How sick's that? So please, if you can, share it, donate, tell your friends, and let's do some good. I'm hoping to have that all wrapped up by the end of January. Go deliver the bikes. There'll be, I can't tell you. There's going to be some cool stuff around this whole Project Change thing going on. Other thing is, well, there isn't anything. We're going to get on with this episode. We're going to get on this episode. On today's podcast, I'm joined by Ben, who is the brainchild of Strength Factory. It was initially Strength Factory MTB, but I guess now it's more like Strength Factory Action Sports. And Ben's been super generous with this. He's actually given all our listeners a free program, which you can download. It's in the show description. And for this episode, we thought it'd be super cool to break it into sections. So the first section is about diet, then we do training the mind, we do some stuff about training the body. Ben and I then go hit the workout, which you guys can access for free. We then discuss it, break it down, why it's important, why it's a good workout to get a good base level of strength and fitness, and then we discuss recovery. So don't forget, if you get halfway through, you can go download the program. There's a video as well, which I've put up, which is it's basically me, probably quite badly, doing the exercises which are in the program. And we discuss again why these are so beneficial. So massive props to Ben for doing that. He doesn't have to, but it's going to help you guys. It's going to help our listeners get stronger, get fitter, and hopefully you're going to pick up a few little knowledge bombs from our conversation today. Let's get on with the podcast and welcome Ben Plenge. Finally.
Yes.
All right, quick intro. On today's podcast, we are joined by Ben
Plenge.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one. Most people say Plenge or Plenge.
Yeah, I say Plenge. I've been saying
Plenge. Yeah,
Plenge.
something like that. People who've known me a long time, years down the line, find out that it's Plenge and it blows their minds. But yeah, in theory it's Plenge, but I answer to most things along those lines.
Ben's usually.
Or Ben.
Easiest.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. So I'll set the scene real quick. We are at Be Strong Fitness.
Be Pro Fitness.
Be Pro Fitness,
yeah.
My bad. I'll edit that. I won't.
That's all right. It's not my gym. It's not my gym.
In Bristol.
Yeah.
And this is where you work out of?
Yeah.
Pretty much every day?
Yeah, so I look after the little one on a Monday. So Tuesday to Friday, you can find me here coaching people.
Right.
This is where I earn a living and try and create athletes out of the public and yeah.
How long have you been based here?
So I've been in this gym, I think 4 and a bit years now.
Yeah.
So pretty much the whole time. Yeah, 4 years I'd say actually.
Right.
Yeah. Since it very first opened actually.
Oh right.
Yeah. So it's a
rad place. For anyone who hasn't been, we'll post some photos over on social media and stuff. But it's a cool spot.
Yeah, it's a good gym. Like Bristol's blessed with some real good gyms, but this is definitely one of the best. Lots of space, friendly, no dickheads.
Yeah.
You know, and you can get whatever you need done here.
Like
basically.
you said, if you can't get strong and fit in here, like.
Yeah, then it's you.
It's you.
It's you or your program.
You're lazy.
You, your program, or your coach is doing something wrong if you can't get fit and strong in here. Yeah.
Sick. All right. So obviously it's January, so we decided it'd be a good idea to sit down now because people are making all these New Year's resolutions, which I'm still on the fence, like whether I believe in this stuff. I personally have made a few. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a good time to make a clean slate, like draw that invisible line in your life and your mental health or whatever it is, like whatever you're trying to achieve. And hopefully we can, give some tips today to help people improve their fitness and health and everything. Like we're going to try and hit a few different things. So we're covering more than just being mountain bike fitness, a little bit of health and stuff like that, and general well-being, because I think that's important. I'm looking forward to it, man. Like, I'm pretty stoked to finally get down and do this. And
man. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but we're here, we're doing it. And I think with the resolution thing, like, whether you're into resolutions or not, like, trying to make yourself better can only be a good thing, isn't it? That's the way I see it. Just like boil it down. That's what the bottom line is, isn't it? So,
I agree, definitely. I think there's a lot of good comes out from being healthy and fit, obviously, as far as lifestyle and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully we can drop some knowledge on some people. Change some lives. And see how it goes.
Even if just one, that'll be.
Even if we change one life, it's going to be interesting. So just a bit of backstory. How did you end up becoming a mountain bike fitness or fitness coach?
So I guess going way back.
Let's do it.
I ended up here way back. Just like, I was always stoked on my bike as a kid. From my rally burner back in the day with the blue plastic sort of tri-spoke wheels and all that. It's a pretty nasty bit of kit. To then my first proper mountain bike, a Kona Fire Mountain in 1995.
Right.
Until I crashed it into a tree. and then from there I just like really got fully into mountain biking, cross country and lycra, dare I say it, like through my uni days. But also to counter that, rode a lot of BMX in really baggy jeans because it was like the late 90s basically.
For sure.
And just was just always really into fitness and stuff like that. And then I ended up joining the army after uni as an officer, and I spent 8 years in the army, where I basically didn't ride a bike except for around camp to like get to work and stuff but it was just different then. There wasn't the army mountain bike team that you see at all the races now and stuff like that. It just wasn't really a thing. And on leave, I was actually having a rest from exercise because you're getting thrashed the whole time.
I bet.
But then, like during the army, I really fell in love with training. Initially, like mostly beach weights, really. Like too much bench press, messing up my shoulders. Didn't really do leg day. It was mostly that sort of thing. But then got more into training, learnt more about it, and always cared about my fitness. And then, when I left the army, they're quite good at sort of sorting you out when you leave now. So they paid for my personal training course, which is what I wanted to do when I left. So that was rad. So I did 8 years. They then paid for my course, and I did it on army time as well while they were paying me. So I did a full-time residential course. And then that started my, I guess, personal training career in 2010. And then from there to here, I guess you've got a timeline where I went and worked in a really commercial gym with like loads of people, and you learn your craft there, and it's sink or swim. It's savage. Like loads of people fail, they can't get enough there, they can't pay
like sales wise as well.
Because you need to sell, you need to learn to sell, you then need to retain them, you need to get your prices right, you need to fill your diary up to get enough hours a week to pay the gym rent before you get any money for yourself,
Right, so that's how it works there. You pay them almost like a hairdresser, you pay for the chair.
They pay for the chair. So I'm the same here, I pay a gym rent here that lets me train who I want here. And it's a similar setup there. And then from there, I started to get back into mountain biking when I was out of the army and hooking up some old riding mates, and I really sucked when I first got out. It was like how bad I was on a bike. But and then just got more and more into it, and then I was just sick of London and sick of the...
Oh, you're living in London at the time?
Yeah, I was living in London, and it was just bonkers, and I was PTing, full rat race, and I was running a boot camp as well, which was brilliant. It was really fun. And I was just thinking, I'm getting more and more into mountain biking and the outdoors. I spend all my weekends driving west to go to Wales and stuff. So we got out of London, and I started originally it was Mountain Bike Strength Factory, just to coach mountain bikers. And so I started that when I moved to Bristol, and obviously day one, I've got no connections, didn't know anyone in Bristol and any of that. So I was actually, like one of your previous guests, is it Craig Evans who does the abseiling?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's what I did when I first moved to Bristol, because I got my ticket for that. So I did...
rope access.
Yeah, rope access, for a year, while I had initially one client and then 2 clients. And then after a year of doing rope access with clients on the side, I was able to go full-time and just train mountain bikers and just go from there.
Awesome.
And now, 5 years down the line, I make a living. I broaden it slightly. I actually work with action sports.
Yeah, I've seen that you do a lot of just general action sports stuff.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of motocrossers and a surf guy, and I've got someone away like skiing this week. And it's just training people that do shit that interests me, basically.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool, man,
yeah.
good.
So,
Sorry to interrupt really quickly. To go back, what were those army workouts like? Because, dude, I'm obsessed with that stuff. It's really creepy.
Like,
yeah, I love
army fitness boot camp.
Yeah, I've got well into sort of like David Goggins recently. You're aware of David Goggins, the ex-Navy SEAL, and like his descriptions of those workouts that they were doing for SEAL training and buds and stuff. And in a way, I've just become a little bit fixated with like
that suffering.
The suffering, and that, to be honest, and we'll get into it when we talk about training stuff. That's how I, believe it or not, actually like to train. Like I love just going deep. And I know you can't do it all the time. I fully appreciate that. And again, we'll talk about that. But that's the sort of stuff I like. Do you thrive off that with those army workouts like that as well?
Back then, when I was in my 20s, and I'm still the same person, but I'm a bit more chilled out and less intense these days, So if you can imagine, you're in your early 20s, you're in the army. I was in the infantry as well, like the proper part of the army. And you're just living on camp with like 400 men. Yeah. And it's just this ridiculous environment of like testosterone and everyone thinks they're alpha male,
I can imagine,
and all of that. And then, like in a normal week, you do PT, maybe 4 days, some type of, whether it's circuits or a march where you go with your Bergen, your backpack, or a run or whatever it is, or a salt course. And some of them are just pretty steady, and some of them are just pretty miserable. You're just getting thrashed. It's that looking inside yourself to find how deep you can go, and it's also, you do that as a group, as a platoon, as a section, or as a company, or as a whole battalion. You do that, and maybe on a Friday there's a tradition for CO's PT, which is the commanding officer's like PT session, where sometimes he'll set like some minging challenge. Really? The whole battalion, so there's 400 blokes running around an airfield in Northern Ireland or something, doing something mingy, and you're racing each other, but then there's maybe a team aspect, so you work together or carry each other. So I loved it, mate.
Really?
I absolutely loved it.
Like, do you think that's where the love for fitness came from, or were you already a little bit?
I think so. I really think it did. I really enjoyed that intensity. I enjoyed the sort of the deep suffering. I enjoyed the feeling of feeling fit and strong, and that confidence it gives you for like your whole life. I think that's where a lot of my love of fitness has come from. But I'm going to be honest with you, like I've lost a lot of that intensity these days. Right. And I still look after myself. I still train like pretty hard. But I'd say I train at a real consistent 80-90%. And then when I'm feeling really up for it and I feel really good, then I'll nail myself from time to time.
You'll dip in.
I'm just a little less of an intense person. And I'm 38 and a half.
38 and a half.
So creeping on to 40, and I'm very much now I'm all about looking after myself, playing the long game sort of thing. That's how I see it. And fitness for me is as much about my health as my immediate performance. And apart from anything, I just don't like beating myself as much as I used to. I've probably gone a bit soft, if I'm honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. By my standards anyway. Maybe some people would disagree, but
Well, that's it. I think once you've got a really like a high base level of fitness anyway, you're going soft is probably still.
I don't know. Maybe.
Gnarly,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I was. Again, with like diet and stuff, like I eat as well as humanly possible. For me, but my not eating well is probably still really good compared to how I used to eat. You know what I mean? So you get this like base level where
it's all about what's normal for you. Isn't it?
And getting those patterns and sticking to it as well as much as possible.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So when you first started doing the mountain bike strength coaching, it's hard to pick up clients. Like, how did you?
You know what? I got really lucky actually. Well, you make your own luck, don't you? But
you do.
I decided that to coach racers, I needed to be at the races. So I just signed up for the whole season of UK Gravity Enduro, like Steve Parr's old series. For, I guess it would have been the 2004 14 series or 13 series, one of the two. I signed up for the whole series and said, well, I'm going to go to all of them and meet people and talk to people. And I'm not like shy, I'm quite good at just going to talk shit to people. And I got in touch with Steve Parr, who was running it, who just did me an absolute blinding favour. And I said, look, I'm starting out, this is what I'm doing. I don't really have any cash, I can't sponsor it like that, but can I provide some prizes and some programmes? And he's like, yeah, that's cool. So we did a spot prize, and he just shared some stuff on the Facebook for me.
Amazing. And
through there I got my first client, Joe Finney, who's like one of my best mates now actually, who's a pinner from Bristol.
Okay.
Shout out to Joe, he was number one.
Well done,
and then
Joe.
it was really handy because you know what? Because Joe's a good guy and a top rider who's been racing for years. He knows fucking everybody.
Right, so you've got a word out there.
Yeah. And I did a good job with Joe, and Joe worked hard, and his race results took a significant jump that year.
Brilliant.
And people noticed, and it's like, oh, so then I got a few more people, and then that's how it goes, isn't it? Like anything.
Yeah, for sure.
That word of mouth. And,
yeah, it is for sure. That's interesting though, man. Interesting. And now you made the decision to move into more action sport stuff.
Yeah.
That's just opened the demographic up.
Yeah, it broadens it up. I think part of that is keeping it interesting for me long term.
Yeah.
And I think it will help me to be a better coach long term, rather than being so very blinkered, this is all I do. Seeing different people with different backgrounds and different demands in their sports will help to just keep me developing as a coach. And the last thing I want to do is be like 45 and only having trained mountain bikers 10 years and just being bored and maybe not as good as I could be.
Yeah,
you know?
okay. One thing I wanted to ask you as well, which I was curious of, like how do you go about keeping up to date with like the latest and greatest techniques? Because there's a lot of shit in there.
Yeah.
How do you keep up with that? Like,
yeah, so I think, you know, if any coaches are listening, you've got to spend time, money, and effort on your continuing education. Like, I spent quite a bit of time and money over the last couple of years doing like a mentorship with Darren Roberts, who you may have heard of. So he back in the day, he coached the Athertons for years, and then he ran the whole Red Bull high performance program.
Oh, awesome.
So if they got a Red Bull hat on from the UK, then Darren will have trained them. And now he's basically does strength and conditioning and performance post-injury for Red Bull through a company called Harrison Ross.
In Manchester.
So, Manchester, at Wilmslow, And so, I spent like a lot of time and money going to see him, you know, drive to Manchester for a day, getting up at 3:30 in the morning to do that, and, you know, watching him coach people, talking to him, doing presentations, and, you know, that's where the focus for my development's been recently. And then, you know, read some books.
Podcasts.
Podcasts. There's so many good coaching podcasts now, actually, where you can get stuff. But to really, I think face to face is obviously the best way to learn. Like seeing someone practicing is the best way to learn. And I don't have that lined up for this year yet. I've just got a few books in. I'm going to work through, and then I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put my time and money this year, but I will.
That's interesting. That's how you do it. I mean, it's the same for most things in life, isn't it? If you want to learn stuff, go out, read books, podcasts.
Exactly.
And hopefully try and study it. My problem is I take in so much stuff that I can't. I almost overwhelm myself.
Yeah,
you know
it's easily done, isn't it? And there's that whole idea where, you know, it's almost you see a bell curve of how your knowledge in a certain subject, and it starts with I don't know shit, and then, you know, after a year or whatever, it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing here, and then after 2 years it goes up to I'm a fucking expert, I know everything, and then at 3 years, like, I realise I don't know shit again, and, you know, and you go through these waves where you think I've got this dialed, and then you doubt. Well, it's not doubt, it's just, I think all the good coaches are always thinking there maybe is something missing or something. You know, you're always questioning things.
And I feel there's a lot of stuff, and one of the listener questions is about it as well, about how much information is out there, and a lot of conflicting information as well, and trying to decipher it and figure out what's going to work for you. So hopefully with what we're doing today, we're going to be able to just give some pointers and stuff like that, and try and set some facts straight a little bit.
A massive part of my ethos is simplicity in everything I do. And hopefully I can put that across to the listeners today. Because these days, like you say, we're just bombarded with information, and you get I didn't coin this phrase, can't remember who it is, but paralysis by analysis.
Amazing.
Which
Amazing.
It's true,
it's
though.
So true, man.
And I've been there and I've seen it, especially if you're maybe an intense personality type who, you know, always, I'm doing this, but should I be doing that?
Yeah.
Or da-da-da-da-da. And this one says that and that says that. And then, because you don't know what to do, you don't do anything.
True,
and
totally.
You're better off usually picking a path and going for it. It's like in the army. It's better to have a plan that's 80% plan on time now, in time to deliver the plan, than the 100% perfect plan that's late, you know?
Yeah,
it's better to get started now with whatever you're doing, and it's 80%, and you can always refine it, you know, over time, rather than just
I think one of the issues
paralysis.
as well that people have is sticking with stuff for a long time, because
it's
easy to try something for X amount, like a week, and you're like, oh, it didn't work, move on to something else. Like I was in a shopping centre yesterday, supermarket. The girl in front of me said to her friend, oh, I'm going to go vegan for 2 weeks. And you're like, why even bother? You know what I mean? Just fast for 2 weeks. Probably, you know, that'd be way more beneficial.
Give yourself a high five.
Yeah, well done.
Put your corn burgers on Instagram. Well done.
Yeah. Tell the world on social media. But it's about getting a structure, sticking to it, and giving it enough time that your body adapts to those things. Right?
Honestly, I'm like a broken record. Like, consistency always is the key. Consistency wins. And if you look at anyone, regardless of mountain biking, who is either in good shape all year round, like they look good in their pants or whatever, or who's strong pretty much all year round, who's fit all year round, who's really sharp on their bike all year round, they don't do short, mad training programs or diets or anything like that. They just have habits that they do consistently every day, every week, every month, that allow them to maintain that good physique, or maintain that level of strength, or maintain that level of aerobic and cardiovascular fitness. It's not, and they just have those good habits because they formed them, and then they stick with them, and then it's easier for them to stick with that over long term. And that's what it's all about.
Start building it into your day, which is a problem for a lot of people.
It's all about habit.
Fitting it in. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like we just said before, for the listeners, because I don't think I've mentioned it yet, we're going to break down this podcast into a few different sections. So there's going to be 4 sections from now. First thing we're going to do, we're going to cover some diet stuff. We're going to move on to training the mind, training the body, and then your post-ride / post-exercise recovery stuff. So let's kick off with some dietary stuff, if you don't mind. Now, questions. This is something that, we've got some questions as well from listeners. So this podcast is going to be mainly listener generated. So if you've submitted a question, chances are we're going to answer it either now or in the next X amount of time.
You know what? Before you read the first one, I wouldn't call this a disclaimer.
Go on.
But I just want to put this in. It's like an umbrella. Is that with diet and everything we're going to go through, there are many ways to skin the cat. There's many ways to achieve what you want to achieve, and we're all different. Like, you might be lactose intolerant, I might be able to drink a gallon of milk a day, you know, and all of that. And then you've also got to remember that the things we believe about nutrition and diet all come from the people around us and the things that we're exposed to, like your social media and things like that. And if you understand a little bit about your Facebook and your Instagram and the algorithms and all that geeky shit, which kind of explains Brexit and all that, is that when you start reading certain articles, maybe about becoming a vegan, Facebook goes, they're into vegan shit, and they start piling your feed with all the other vegan stuff or paleo stuff. And then all of a sudden you feel like, everyone else is doing this, and this must be the right thing. And that's true, not just for you, it's true for me as well, you know? So I'm a product of, and my views are a product of my experience of coaching for, you know, getting on for 10 years. My experience of my own body and my family and being a healthy weight and things like that. And so, I'm going to give you what I believe is really sound, like rounded advice, rather than the Nazi kind of approach. You mustn't eat eggs, you must eat after 6 p.m, you know, you got to drink 5 litres of water a day, because it's fucking rubbish, okay? And I just hope that I can give you a really balanced and simple takeaway.
That's solid.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, mate, 100%. And if to give you my perspective on that, and I fall into that category actually quite heavily, because About 3 or 4 years ago, I started, I've always listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and he started having a lot of people on talking about the ketogenic diet. Dom D'Agostino, people like that who are like experts in the field. And I made the decision to give it a go. And I'll be honest, I have never felt better than when I went on that diet. Like, I went pretty deep into it, because that's one of the things as well, is as soon as you start, especially with keto, like as soon as you start doing a few cheats, obviously you knock yourself out of ketosis and you have to start all over again, get back in. But I have never felt any better. And I think one thing that I love about the ketogenic diet as well, for example, is just being mindful of what you're eating, because that's super important as well, and not just, you know, the old school me was just pile it in and like, as long as you're eating loads of food and you'll burn it off and all that sort of stuff. No, but that diet, man, I loved it, if I'm honest with you.
And it worked for you.
It worked for me, and that's the thing as well. It worked for me, and it won't necessarily work for everybody out there.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I lost a load of body fat. Yeah. Felt pretty shredded, felt strong. Long rides were pretty tough. Yeah, to be fair, like a long ride was hard. But with that, I would introduce a little bit more carbs than usual. Yeah. I'd be that guy on the trail, like eating an avocado and some macadamia nuts. The stereotypical keto dude.
Hipster mountain biker.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's just my perspective of it. But so, for example, then, what's your diet look like?
Personally?
Yes. What's your diet, and what do you also
I'm not sure
recommend?
how I define it really. I used to be pretty full on paleo.
Awesome.
For quite a while, and then I realised that actually I know paleo isn't strictly low carb, but most people end up being quite low carb on paleo. That low carb just wasn't fitting my lifestyle, like the activity level I had coaching people and cycling around London to do boot camps and stuff. And so, yeah, I guess at the heart of it is I just eat real food. So I try and eat lots of veggies, eggs. I'm all right with dairy, so I eat like yogurt and things like that. The meat I eat, I'm really careful about what meat I choose, both for like ethically and also for my health. So it's like grass-fed beef, amazing, proper free-range chicken, you know, all of that sort of thing. I eat some fish. I eat a bit of bread, but if I go down the sort of cheap supermarket bread route, I don't get on well with that. I get all bloated and farty. You don't want to be around me. But being a bloody lefty Bristol Ponce, I'll buy a £3 sourdough on a weekend and plough through that on a weekend, and that's fine with me. And then carbs wise, I'll have a bit of pasta, but I don't always get on so well with pasta. Loads of rice, and and then I guess I just listen to what I'm doing. So the more I'm doing, the more I'm eating. I was a bit ill over Christmas, and I didn't really do much, and I actually managed to eat less over Christmas, which was a miracle. Okay. But so I can't really define it. It's just real food most of the time.
One thing I heard a while ago was and it's something I really try and stick to, is trying to keep everything on your plate one ingredient.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a great way of looking at it. If you look at your plate and you go, I don't know like what's in that. Don't eat it. You know. Broccoli's broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli's broccoli. Steak.
Grass-fed beef is grass-fed beef.
My only real exception to that is I'm pretty obsessed with condiments. So
I heard.
I go I go pretty deep on the condiments. I've got a whole shelf in the fridge of all sorts of stuff. But even then, I don't buy the shit with MSG in it and all the sugar. I still read the label and pick out something that is going to be tasty and make my meal nicer, but isn't going to do me in the long term.
I think it's interesting. I love talking about diet. I could go on this for hours, mate. I love it. I don't know why.
Rabbit hole, mate.
It is a massive rabbit hole, but I love trying stuff. You know, I think in our house at the minute, I still try and follow keto/paleo. People listening, paleo is basically a Paleolithic diet. Caveman, which is going back to how we used to eat when we were old. Not old people, but like ancient times and whatever. But my girlfriend's vegan. So
tricky.
It's really tricky. So trying to be vegan keto is probably impossible unless you've got endless resources, maybe own a supplement company or something like that. I don't know, but it's tough.
Might not be sustainable,
Yeah, it's pretty hard. But again, like the vegan stuff, you know, it's January, Veganuary.
Veganuary,
the people
Did
call
you see when you drove into Bristol yesterday, because Bristol's full of like vegan lefties, there's a massive banner on the on the bridge as you're driving the M32 on the way into Bristol, and it's like veganuary, save the planet, da da da. And I'm like, oh goodness, they're out again.
The thing is though, like you can't argue with eating a lot of veg.
No.
I just feel like I'm vegan, but with a little bit of veg, a little bit of meat.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And I don't know if I'm jumping it. I can't remember if any of the questions cover this, but when people say they go vegetarian and vegan, and I'm joking a bit, but you can make your own choices, and if you think that's a healthy choice that works for you, then that's wicked. But what do people always say after they go vegan and vegetarian? They go, oh, I just feel lighter. I feel better. My skin's clearer and stuff like that. And it's the whole, the difference between a relationship between two things and cause and effect. And are they feeling like that because they've removed meat or eggs and dairy and all that? Or do you feel like that because you're just eating a shitload more vegetables?
Yeah, exactly. You're generally just healthier.
What's the other thing everyone do? They go vegetarian or vegan. What do? They go straight out and they get a vegetarian or vegan cookbook. And now they're reading labels.
Yeah.
They're trying some new recipes, so they're cooking for themselves, whereas maybe before they weren't doing that stuff. And so it doesn't surprise me at all they feel better.
Yeah.
If you're coming from a really strict, well, not strict, that's the wrong word, but like what I'd call a clean paleo or sort of just real whole food diet that includes meat and fish, and you go to vegan or vegetarian, I doubt you feel that much different, really.
Yeah, true.
That's my take on it.
I agree, yeah.
I've never gone like vegan for 2 weeks, but that's my rough take on that and the way people look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just interject them really quickly with a listener question.
Questions,
which came in. So it's at rskelly588 on Instagram. Should you eat a specific diet for enduro training / racing?
No. Next
Amazing.
question. No. So, no. You should eat a diet, So, eating a diet to me is a long-term thing, not a short-term diet, just to clarify what I'm saying. Your diet in the long term should be one that works for you as an individual first, i.e. you're not eating foods that irritate your digestion or skin or anything like that. You're not eating foods that are problematic for you, like some people, you eat one chocolate or one biscuit and you eat the whole pack, so there's a little issue there with that and the sugar and things. And so actually you start with a healthy diet that works for your lifestyle, that keeps you at a healthy weight or gets you to a healthy weight that you feel good at, that you can do, that you can afford. That's always the starting point. And then once you've got that dialed, then you can start thinking sport specific or event specific. Because that's the 90%. The enduro specific is like the icing on the low carb cake, So,
yeah, for sure. No, that's a good answer, dude. Perfect. I think just keeping it simple, like you said.
Yeah, man.
It's so important, isn't it? Just keeping it super simple, like keeping your plate simple every night, like single ingredient.
And people will be, we're all on our phones too much and looking at Instagram, and you'll see, oh, G Atherton's having this for dinner or whatever. I don't think he does that. I think he's more interested in that. But someone will be putting it up, and you'll think, or someone with a 6-pack will be putting up their dinner or their protein shake. It's like, well, that's what I've got to have. Well, yeah, maybe that's a great meal, but maybe it's not for you.
Exactly. It depends how deep you want to go into it as well, I guess, because you can start looking at your ancestors, and you can start doing like 23andMe and figure out
your genetics,
and what you should physically eat. But I think just trying to eat what's in season is also
that's a really good one. For sure. So that's obviously going back to basics and this idea that your body maybe wants to store a little more fat in the winter. Going back to how we evolved. And then there's that influx of fruit in the summer and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
It's so interesting when you start thinking about it. And I think like before, being mindful of what you're eating, because I think then you almost start figuring out, right, if I eat this, an hour later, I feel like this.
Exactly.
And you become more mindful of it, and,
for sure.
And like you say, being able to stop eating biscuits. I'll have one and then done.
And it's understanding that relationship between food and then your feelings, as in emotionally, physically, digestion, and all of that. And that's where I guess I'd make one small exception to what I said for a short-term diet, which can be quite useful as a diagnostic tool. think of it as like plugging your van in at the garage to tell you what's wrong. It's like, well, you could go on an elimination diet for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And that would be quite hardcore and not sustainable for most people, where you would take out all grains, all dairy, all alcohol, all caffeine. And so you're basically eating fruit, veg, meat, fish, eggs.
And water.
You know, and water, you do that for 4 weeks. And think of that as like a reset. And then what you can do is you can, and it's especially useful, for people who maybe have a problem like eczema or asthma, or who have digestive problems. A lot of these things can be made worse by food. And so you do that reset, which is going to be hard for most people to do and not sustainable, but you know there's a finite period of time. Then at the end of that, you've got that clean slate, and then for that 5th week, you then start consuming dairy again, but not the other stuff, not the grains, not the, consume dairy, and you'll quickly know if you've got a problem with dairy because you've zoned it right in there, Oh, shit, my guts aren't right, I'm bloated, maybe my skin's not so good now, and things like that. Or you get to the end of the week and you're like, I feel great, yes, I can drink milk, you've got the right enzymes in your stomach, which is part of your genetics, maybe you can, and then you do that with grains to see how you are basically with gluten, which is the main one people struggle with. And then what you've got is this, you can keep a diary then, and then after a period of then probably about 8 weeks, by the time you've done it properly, you've got this really useful information that can then inform you for the long term and for your decisions that you make in the future. So
interesting. No, I slightly off topic, but I always do a fast the start of every month.
Yeah, when we spoke last week, you're like, I haven't eaten in 10 days. I was like, what?
I do 3 to 4 days every month. So the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, sometimes the 4th, it depends. Depends on situations, where you are, what you're doing, But I think that's a great way if you can do that. I don't know what your opinion is of fasting, but personally I love it. Honestly, like the mental clarity you get at the end of towards the end of a fast. The amount of time you save is like incredible. You getting up and not having money and not having to worry about breakfast, I think is amazing. But mainly just the mental clarity that you get and just the feeling of your body's using up old resources as well that you've put in.
And there's all sorts of interesting research suggesting that it could be really good for your long-term health. I haven't read the most up to date but even like killing off pre-cancer cells and things like that.
At the end of the day, a cancer cell, from what I understand, terrible science, but it feeds on sugar.
Yeah, I think...
Correct?
I'm not exactly
Glucose.
sure, I'll be honest,
From what I understand, cancerous cells feed on sugar. So if you can eliminate that sugar, you'll almost starve the cancer cell. So again, if someone goes into hospital and they're having chemotherapy, usually the hospital's feeding them sandwiches, giving them a Coke. And
hospital food, there's a whole...
Terrible, dude. It's a whole new...
I think Jamie Oliver try to fix that when he did schools?
Really, it's a whole different wormhole.
I think he did.
But if you start looking, I think, at people that do go onto a ketogenic diet as they're going through chemotherapy, the chemotherapy...
The outcomes could be very good,
the outcomes could be totally different.
For some people.
Very good, So
disclaimer, consult your medical practitioner.
Do not listen to me for cancer advice.
Davey is not an oncologist. Is that the right word, oncologist?
I don't even know, mate.
It is. Yeah.
Davey-cology, we call it.
Davey-cology.
And then I think one of the questions that came in, didn't write the dude's name down, but riding snacks.
Riding snacks?
Yeah, riding snacks for when you're out on the trail snacks. What do you propose?
So, there's 2 ways to go here, depending on if you're the sort of person who generally eats healthy and prepares packed lunches and stuff, then maybe you're the sort of person who prepares a healthy riding snack. Like you can go online and you can Google healthy energy balls or something, and you can smash up dates and coconut and all of that good stuff. And if you're that sort of person, then you're probably already doing that and not asking the question. So let's assume then that you're not into that sort of thing. If you're not, you could try it. It could be quite fun as well, making the different snacks and things like that. But then you're at the mercy of the cereal bars and the healthy, in inverted commas, bars at the supermarket or the garage, aren't you?
Yes.
And I would be like, number one, just start reading some labels. If you feel like you need a chemistry degree to interpret the label on it, then I'll probably leave it alone. And you want something, with some carbohydrate, bit of fat, bit of protein's really helpful as well on the bike. I would quite like the naked bars.
Oh yeah.
I'm not supported or endorsed by them, but they're pretty. Yeah, they're pretty good. They taste good, and whether it's hot or cold, they're still quite tasty, and they don't get too smashed up in your pocket like biscuits do and stuff. So you've got to think, what do I want to eat? And but generally stuff that's just real sweet. If you're hitting every weekend ride, you're hitting gels, I suggest that's probably bad
not
news.
Great for your stomach.
No, not great for anything really, except for maybe type 2 diabetes, to be honest. Like, I just don't think you need that shit. Have a gel in your pack for end of ride bonk emergencies. And then do your training with real food and normal bars, or maybe an energy bar but with some protein in. I think, is it High Five do like a 4-to-1 bar or something, just 4 parts carbs, 1 part protein. Okay. I haven't actually eaten that one, but something like that. And then save gel for race day. Emergency what I would gel. Suggest. Yeah. So I kind of feel like I haven't answered that well. But it doesn't need to be complicated. If you're carrying a bag, then make yourself a healthy snack. So it could be rice cakes and peanut butter with a banana.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And if it doesn't get smashed up, it's all good.
It's all good. Or, if it does eat it anyway.
Get some bars. Huh?
If it does eat it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. If it's smashed up, it still ends up in, it's just means you have to chew less, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So save some jaw work.
Amazing. Cool. I think as far as diet goes, you feel we've covered most things. Is there anything you think might be missing or any advice you might have got?
Yeah, I guess going back to the whole simplicity idea, you've got the government healthy plate, which used to be the food pyramid and things like that. And I've got a bit of a face palm going on here, like through the podcast.
Don't look at
me. Yeah, and I think let's just make it simpler. If you imagine your plate in front of you, start off with some protein, okay? Especially as an active person, if you listen to this, you're probably a mountain biker or into that sort of thing. Start with a fist of protein, okay? And then you want to fill like half your plate, like 2 fists of like veggies, broccoli, cauliflower, sprouts, all the green veggies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then at this point, you've kind of got a little decision. It's either I've had an active day today where I've ridden my bike or trained at the gym, or I have a physical job on my feet all day, like I chop down trees or I work in a gym, in which case, add a fist of carbs, whether it's like potato, sweet potato, rice, pasta, whatever. Or I've had a fairly sedentary day, in which case you're going to skip out the carbs because you probably don't need them, and have something with a bit of fats in it. So maybe avocado or a few nuts, or some, olive oil or a bit of butter on the veggies, that sort of thing. And that way you've got a really simple guideline for your plate. And the great thing is that it kind of allows for different sizes of people, because if you're 6'5", you've probably got a massive fist. And then if you're if you're 5 foot tall, you've probably got a very small fist. So it kind of adjusts the portion size.
That's good.
Because a lot of people, this is one that's generally more of a problem for women, is they end up putting on weight. So their portion size is the same as their partner or husband quite often, who generally men tend to be bigger than women, need more calories. And if you're a woman eating the same as your husband, who's 4 inches taller than you every day, then you're probably going to get fat. It's how it is. So
perfect. Good advice.
And then just on food, I think the main thing people can get right is getting the rough amount of calories right. And you don't need to count your calories, but if you're eating too many calories, you're going to put on weight, you're going to get fat. And I actually Googled this earlier today. Like, the fairly up-to-date data is that 65% of British people are overweight and about 28% are obese, which is massive. And so there's obviously a problem with calories here. And so you need to, if you are putting on weight, if you are overweight, then you need to reduce those calories.
Amazing.
Simple.
Cool. All right. Move on, shall we?
Yes, mate.
Training the mind.
Oosh.
I love this sort of shit too. So don't let me go on
this
any rabbit holes.
This is probably my weakest area in this, but I will do my best.
Okay.
And I'll give you my honest thoughts.
That's cool. I mean, for me, there's a couple of main topics as far as training the mind goes, which is meditation, that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
And getting motivated, staying motivated, and ensuring that you stay on track as well. I think that's part of training the mind.
Yeah.
In some ways it probably does fall under the diet thing, because that is part of your mind. Like if your mind's weak and you start going, I'm just going to eat pizza tonight, every night, you've got a weak mind. So let's just go back to the first point then. So as far as like, do you incorporate meditation and mindfulness or anything like that into your daily life and also your professional life?
Yeah, so I've tried, but never got on that well with the sit down quietly meditate kind of thing.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
It does with you,
really?
Definitely. Yeah, because you said as you've got more sort of like calm.
Yeah, I am more like that, and I do have more appreciation of that sort of thing now, and I'm a lot more zen than I used to be.
Okay.
But I'm more about, I guess, sort of micro doses of taking literally a minute to just do some breathing and things like that. And also, I think that as much as I love riding with my mates, I do quite enjoy like riding on my own a bit. Just don't crash. And I find that quite meditative, and I can do a lot of good thinking when I'm like that. And I'll also, if I'm doing a long car journey on my own, I quite often just have the stereo off, like don't listen to anything.
Nice.
And and I can just, I don't know, I find quite a bit of peace from that as well.
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm a big believer in the benefits you can get from spending some time thinking about and concentrating on your breathing, formal meditation like that, and just quiet time and just trying to just clear your mind a little bit.
Yeah, it's something that I've really started to incorporate into my life, and I know the last few podcast guests it's come up a lot more. Just randomly.
Matt
McDuff,
I
was helping Matt last night, bless him. He's getting his podcast is up and running soon.
Oh, wicked.
Shout out for Matt for his podcast. Obviously he started using it quite a lot, especially with his breathing and Wim Hof with the cold exposure and stuff.
Yeah, man.
But for me, I did a meditation course with my girlfriend, and now I feel if I don't do it, it is a little bit zen, it's a little bit cliche, but I need to have it, like for sure. Like even last night after a long day on the road and talking to people all day, I need to shut down a little bit, calm my brain down, because otherwise I will be up all night.
It's funny,
thinking
man,
and working.
I'm fully on board. I'm fully with you, and it's funny. Like if my 25-year-old self could hear me now, he'd be going, "You fucking hippie!"
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it?
It's funny.
As that stuff's growing, it's incredible how many athletes are using it and how many people need it as well.
And I give my my athletes like a recovery guide to help guide which we'll talk about later, I guess, guide their recovery, and one of the things is meditation and breathing. Right. And I know, there's
a few amazing apps out there for people listening. If you want to try it, Headspace, the new Sam Harris one is incredible. I've just bought that. And there's Calm as well. So there's 3 which are really good that are free for the best part.
Yeah, there's some free ones, and then if you get into it, you can pay for longer, more in-depth meditations and stuff. Yeah.
Sure. So that's cool, interesting. As far as finding motivation, where do you think your source of that comes from? And
so motivation, despite what I think people in the army tried to tell you can't motivate other people, really. I think motivation really is intrinsic. It comes from within, and it's from, you've got to be motivated by, I guess, goals to a certain extent. Most of my guys are all self-motivated because they want to do well at races. That's it, and that's what gets them psyched into gym this morning when it was frosty and coming to train with me and things like that. And it's finding the right things in your life that you want to do and want to be involved with that will then give you that intrinsic motivation. And then I guess going back to health and diet, it's that motivation to make positive changes. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people really struggle with that. Well, they must do, or they'd be getting it right, and then what often happens is it's that health scare. It's that, my blood pressure's through the roof, I'm pre-diabetic. Yeah. That then becomes the motivation for really positive change. And it's actually, let's try and make the change before that health scare happens. Where, let's find that motivation that I want to see my grandkids. I don't want to die when I'm 60 or whatever,
Definitely.
Because that's real.
It is, for sure. And I heard a saying a while ago which goes something along the lines of, you don't really consider health and wellness until you really need it.
Yeah,
a lot of people, they get
yeah.
to the point where it's like, shit, like I could have a heart attack, or
Yeah.
I've had a heart attack. Now I need to sort it out.
I just take it for granted.
Yeah.
And
don't get me wrong, there's no, what's the word? There's no, God, mind blank. There's no, fucking hell.
I'm
an absolute
sure.
mind blank. I don't know what happened there. There's no promises, I guess, that you're going to make it to the end. But
No.
You know,
no, you could do everything right, and
yeah,
something else might still go wrong. It's the way it goes.
Maybe I've not eaten enough today. My mind just went like black.
Brain fart.
Definite brain fart.
Yeah. So, what were we saying? Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to find those reasons inside you, someone else's motivation, and isn't yours. So what is it? You gotta find that thing inside, and so there's techniques you can use, and these things are really useful for maybe getting ready for an event, or maybe losing some body fat and being a bit healthier. Is making yourself accountable can be really handy.
Definitely.
So it's January and you're calling it. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do hard rock this year. I've never ridden that far, but I'm going to do hard rock. And you put it on your social media, you tell your mates and all that.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, you're really super
Be
brave.
accountable.
And yeah, people put like a selfie up, a January selfie in their pants post-Christmas. And they feel bad about themselves maybe, and they're not happy with the way they look, but you make yourself accountable. Like, this is where I'm at now. Shit happens, but I'm moving forward.
I think that's
and
a
that
great
can be really
point.
motivating.
It is.
Yeah.
Being accountable, like tell the world, even though you might find it really difficult to do.
Yeah, and there'll be some
stay accountable.
dickhead haters, but just cut them away.
Yeah.
Cut them away.
Definitely. No, it's something that I've done, I think, and now is a great time of month. I mean, depending on when you're listening to this is January, but making those goals now, that's hugely motivating for me. Is actually, I took like a week or so off over Christmas to sit down, write down some goals, and be like, this is what I want to try and achieve, and that will keep you motivated. But keep looking at it as well. Like, don't just write it down and forget about it.
For sure.
And try and figure out like how as well. All right, I want to race hard rock. How are you going to race hard rock? What are you going to do on the run
and
up to that?
then you just start breaking it down, and always trying to do it be as simple as possible. And then it can give you a path from where you are now to where you want to be, basically. And so it's like, for a lot of people, when mountain bikers, we do sport, we do activity, but you go to any trail centre and there's quite a few overweight mountain bikers, and their health and their performance would be better if they weren't overweight. It's a fact, And so it's like, right, I want to lose the weight, and so it's not just cut things out. It's I'm going to put this positive habit in, and then when you add things to your lifestyle or diet, rather than just always thinking about taking things out. So when you take things away, it feels like deprivation, and then it's hard to stick with. But you add something in, like I'm going to drink 2 litres of water every day, and then maybe that, without even realising, maybe it pushes a can of Coke out every day. Or you have that one less skinny latte or fucking whatever it is from Costa.
Whatever you drink round here.
Yeah, exactly.
Turmeric.
Turmeric chai latte with whipped cream on top. Yeah, and maybe it pushes something out, or maybe it's I'm going to eat 5 portions of vegetables a day, and it pushes something out that, like Ollie Wilkins, that bag of What's-Its that Ollie Wilkins goes on about, And so, I'm going to go for a half-hour walk first thing in the morning before work, and it pushes out that habit of hitting the snooze button, and then when you get back from your walk, because you've already done something positive, you're more likely to have a good breakfast than if you just dragged your sorry body out of bed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, mate,
so
that first hour of the day is so important.
Yeah, and just adding things into your lifestyle that initially take work, but then do it enough, it becomes a habit. And successful people in health, in business, in life, in sport have habits that support their success.
Yeah, for sure.
G. Atherton or Aaron Gwynn or any of those guys, they've got winning habits with the way they eat, the way they stretch, do mobility, do strength, and that adds up to a really amazing athlete or just a really amazing person who's healthy and feels great every day, which should be the norm. It should be the norm.
It should.
But people don't. I think people's expectations are too low.
Amazing. Good answer, man. Just quickly.
Yeah.
What's your experience, if any, with cold exposure? Have you done any of that yourself?
Oosh. Well, I had plenty in the army.
Yeah, man, no doubt.
Yeah, there's no choice.
You've maxed
about that.
out.
Maxed out on cold exposure. Yeah,
because this hit really good with the Matt Macduff episode.
Oh yeah.
Because Matt talked about it quite a lot.
About
in
Wim
fact,
Hof.
the Wim Hof stuff, but just got people trying it, man. We got so much engagement out of people trying a cold shower in the morning.
Yeah,
like that,
Tony Robbins as well.
Yeah, he's
big
into
on
that
it.
plunge pool in the morning.
Yeah.
Do you do much of that yourself?
So, I do occasional cold showers, and that's about as much as I'm doing.
Really?
To be honest,
Okay.
yeah. Again, it's one of those things. I've never been on a formal, I've never been on a Wim Hof course or read his book. I'm very aware that it's a thing at the moment, and I think that you're probably right. I think there's probably a lot of benefits mentally and physically to it. What I did do actually, that makes me feel better, is I did a New Year's Day dip this year actually.
Oh right, really?
Yeah, which was savage. The water
was that?
5 degrees. Just on the coast near Bristol, Clevedon Marine Lake.
Right.
So it's like a concrete pool that fills up from the sea, and New Year's Day they have a dip there. And you get some pussies in wetsuits who I think shouldn't be allowed in. No. But I was there in my runners and it was brutal. Really? Yeah. Like my nuts have only just come back out, I swear. It was 10 days ago.
How did you feel after though?
Yeah, I did feel good actually. And you do feel good. It's definitely type 2 fun, isn't it?
It is type 2 fun.
At the time, you're like, this sucks, what am I doing? But then afterwards, you're like, oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I love it now.
Yeah.
Again, it's something that with the meditation every day, kind of need to make
so
sure I get that cold shower in every day.
Yeah,
shower every
in the
morning.
Mornings as well.
Cold shower in the morning, but also I think even in the evenings. I mean, there's been a few things where I'll be working late, and rather than have a coffee to keep awake, or if I'm recording the podcast late at night, hit the cold shower, because the benefits of that to me feel like a coffee.
Cool.
But you don't get the jitters and you don't
How do you roll? Do you start with like a warm shower, then just twist it slowly cold, or do you just go straight in, foreplay, bang?
Warm, get everything done, get clean, make sure your hair's washed and all that sort of stuff, brush my teeth in the shower, all that stuff.
Oh, I don't do that. That's
and then just get your breaths in first, so 30 deep breaths.
Okay.
And out.
Prepare.
Bosh. Wipe that thing as cold as possible and try and get it in for 2 or 3 minutes.
Nice, and just keep the breathing under control.
Try and keep your breathing under control. Yeah, I think it's an amazing form of meditation as well, because you're not thinking about much else when you're in there.
I think that's maybe what I do wrong. I think, because when I crank on the cold, I then start to think about my breathing, and maybe,
Yeah. Had a few people message and were like, I can't get in a cold shower. I'm like, no. Get warm first and then do it. You know?
And that's the whole thing with the old ice bath as well, and the whole recovery thing is that getting in it is brutal.
Yeah, it's hard.
And
But
I guess
again, mind over matter.
We'll come back to recovery at the end, aren't we?
Amazing. Okay, so we've got training of the mind, I feel, in the bag. Would you say?
I think so, yeah. It's just, finding what motivates you.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Are we doing all right for time? Because I think visualization is really useful.
Amazing. Yeah,
Thinking
we've got loads of time, mate. I've got as much as you want.
Cool, man. I mean, because maybe a lot of people here are doing some sort of racing, and that's where the mental strength is really critical, and it separates. I reckon there's probably a shit ton of riders who have probably had the skills and the strength and everything to win downhill races. There aren't that many who can put it together for a race run. Yeah. And we all know that person who's pinned at your local woods and who's quicker than you, but just always bins it at the races, or you beat them at the races because they just can't put it together. And that's really tricky to deal with. And so I'm a big believer in visualization, first of all.
And what would your advice be as far as visualization? Are you visualizing the track? Are you visualizing that feeling of completing something?
Yeah, I think there's kind of two types. There's that more general, I guess pre-event, where you're just taking time, almost meditatively, to see yourself riding fast and smooth and flowing and that sort of thing, and believing that you can ride like that consistently in a race environment, And then there's that pre-race run where the best racers in any sport can visualize every turn, and you might see them with their eyes closed, and they're going they look like crazy frogs sort of thing, going like like going side to side, but they're not just visualizing their line. I think a big part of what makes the best guys able to do that is they can almost feel what's going on. They can feel them pushing through the berm, just dropping their heels to drive through the stutters and going light over there and scrub, and it's more than just left, right, through the tree, It's a lot more, there's a lot more depth to it for those top guys. And that's a skill that you need to learn.
Definitely.
And I try and get I'm lucky enough to work some real pinned youth downhill racers. And it's something that we try and work on with them.
Right.
Yeah. So if they're doing maybe a warm up on the turbo at the top of the hill, then it's like, right, this is what we're going to work on to try and do that. And
one of the best analogies and sort of examples I've heard is like cage fighters using it as far as that getting rid of the jitters as walking to a cage, like replay it in your mind that many times that when you actually do it, it's nothing because you've gone through it so many times. And I think it's probably hard with what you're talking about with race runs because it's going to be different every time. They've got that one, like from the dressing room to the cage, it's going to feel the same every time.
For sure.
But interesting visualization.
So I think visualization is a really useful tool. And just, I guess, doing a little kind of self-appraisal. If you're someone who struggles with racing in particular, it's think, what perceptions do I have about myself, about my riding, about my competitors, about the sport, about my bike that are limiting me? What limiting beliefs do you have as an individual, as a person? So you might think that the other guys are more powerful sprinters than you on a bike for whatever reason, even though you've never got all these people on a watt bike and seen who can do the biggest sprint. It does my head in. Fucking Warner I love Rob Warner, don't get me wrong, and the whole Red Bull coverage, but every time it was World Cup, it's Marcelo Gutierrez, he's a monster on the pedals. How do you fucking know? He's a stocky guy, and I'm sure he's got a great sprint, he's a pro downhiller. But have you ever been to gym and seen him on a watt bike putting out 2,000 plus watts? Because you never know. Laurie Greenland, who's probably 3 stone lighter, he might have a bigger sprint. You don't even know.
True.
And it does my head in. So you might have that perception that you're not as powerful. And so then you get to that pedally track and you've got this limiting belief. And I believe when you think you're not powerful, then you're not going to fully apply your power when you go to pedal. Or, and it's things like that. What do you believe that limits your ability to perform? Because half the time it's bullshit. And then you need to have that rational part of your brain, that self-talk to fix it, which isn't easy. Don't get me wrong. And that's essentially what high performance coaches do and mental coaches do, is they try and it's not usually about maximising your strengths. It's more about, as I understand it, reducing those things that limit you.
Right.
Because then that lets you apply all your skill, all your fitness, all your talent, if there is such a thing.
Just let it happen.
To unleash it on the track. So
brilliant. Good stuff, man. Love it. All right. Training the body, probably the most important thing. If not, well, it's definitely one of the contributing factors.
Yeah, let's make them those overlapping circles.
Yeah, I like that.
3 circles,
Brilliant. So training the body. One thing I wanted to ask you first, relating to the business, is like walking me through a process of a new client coming to you today. So let's say we get ex-listener to the podcast who's decided he only lives in Bristol, he's going to come here. What's he going to get?
So first of all, you just got to give me some money.
Cross my palm with silver.
Loads of it, cash. So basically, most people get in touch. They drop me an email, ask me some questions, and then we schedule a phone call. And in the phone call, it's like, right, who are you? What do you do? What do you want to achieve? And then we get them booked in for an assessment and coaching, basically, which is about 90 minutes for most people, unless they've got a really interesting injury history, when I might need a little bit longer.
Right.
And in that 90 minutes, we go through a warm-up together. We have a good chat about injury history, strengths and weaknesses, what they're trying to achieve, what they want to get out of the training. And then we start by having a look at their mobility and flexibility. I've got some key tests, so we look at their ankle, hamstring, hip flexor, shoulders. And they're my set tests, but then if I see something a bit weird, or if there's a certain injury, then that might send me off on little tangents, if you like, because there's 100 different tests you can do that overlaps a bit with physio and rehab and training, basically. So I'm trying to get an understanding of that person's body and how they work, what works and what doesn't. Okay. And then we go from there and do an assessment of their strength, which I pretty much all do on body weight. So upper body, how are your press ups? Can you even do a correct press up? You know, are you able, do your shoulders move correctly over the back of your ribs and things like that? We do some single leg strength, and I look at how they move on a single leg. We look at core strength and things like that. And then, again, if I see anything random, or not random, but just that needs a little more investigation, then maybe I'll get them to do another exercise while I watch them. And I'm all like scribbling away on my notepad here, on my clipboard.
Okay, you're a paper guy.
Yeah, paper diary. I'm old school, much to my wife's amusement.
Same.
And then after that, depending on what their training history is, I do some coaching where the key things I try and get into them in that first session are get them squatting really well, just body weight, or if they're a bit stronger, then we do a goblet squat where you hold a weight in front of your chest. Some sort of hinging exercise, like a Romanian deadlift, just with a kettlebell. Doesn't have to be heavy. I just want to get that motion going. And then I teach them some tension techniques, which are really important for lifting safely, where you create tension through like your hips and your core, which then kind of joins your whole body together as one, and it means you can pick a weight up safely, both in the gym but also in day-to-day life. It's kind of a life skill. And so if I can get those drilled in there, then, or at least start the process there, then one or two things happen. I either have, this is more for, I guess, Joe Public rather than, so if an athlete came to me who's semi-pro or pro, they then go onto their own program and they generally see me one-to-one or sometimes in a small group with another athlete. Yeah. But then I've also got groups of local riders basically, and they come and see me sort of 2 or 3 to 1. Right. And so then they've already done a bit of coaching and they can go into that small group environment where, we coach them in a really fun environment where there's a program for the gym, and then it has adaptations for the individual. Right. So some exercises aren't appropriate for you that are for him, for instance. So we change things up. Or I've got people who come and see me. They come and see me every 4 weeks. We do some coaching, and I write them a training program. Then they come back in 4 weeks with their training diary, say, "Oh, I did this. This was good. That was hard. Oh, I was struggling with my whatever." Write a new program, coach them through it, and they see me every 4 weeks.
So pretty much every program you're doing is custom for every person?
So for the people who see me periodically, yes, it's custom. Amazing. For the people who come small group to see me, they do my gym program, which is based around like a UK mountain bike year, I guess. Right. So at the moment we're lifting pretty heavy. Yep. I'll push them a bit harder. I don't mind if they have sore legs in January, because you can still ride with sore legs, but in the summer I'll try and avoid too much soreness because they want to be riding loads. And if I get them really sore in the gym on Wednesday, they might not be fully recovered to race on the weekend. Yeah. So that's kind of how I balance it out.
Okay, amazing. And let's just interject here with a listener question.
Yes.
So we'll just throw a random one in, if that's all right. We'll keep it flowing.
Go for it. I'm ready.
First one, at those MTB guys. And he said, or she said, or they said.
The guys said.
There are so many conflicting theories on getting in shape nowadays, with social media creating experts. What's Ben's theory on cardio versus weights to burn off that beer belly? Does doing both really result in no benefit?
Okay, so the first thing I'd say, just a quick reminder of what I said, paralysis by analysis. It's really easy to brain fuck yourself, especially on the internet. And then the second bit I would say is that if you're new to training, then most programs are going to work for a period of time. So there's my program, obviously I think it's wicked and will give you great results, but then there's your mate at the gym who could write your program, or the one you got from Men's Health magazine or whatever. Pretty much all of them are going to give you some sort of results for a period of time if you're untrained or detrained, because it's a new stimulus of strength training or whatever. And then after a period of time, program stops working, stops being effective. And if you're a total beginner, then that might be months down the line. If you're a bit fitter and stronger already, then that'll be a shorter period of time. Okay. And so, there's 100 different programs and approaches, and it's finding one that, going back to that message of consistency, that you think you can stick to, and also that can become a new habit as well. Okay. So, you might think, I'm going to do CrossFit, and if the CrossFit gym is right next to your work, then actually that might be a really good thing for you. If the CrossFit gym is a half-hour drive after a long day of work, you're not going to fucking go, are you?
Yeah, it's true.
Or you'll go once a week. And so it's not going to become a positive, realistic, consistent habit in your life. So you've got to think about those things as well, And then the cardio versus weights thing. So I think what they mean is doing like a what you might call a blended session, where maybe you will do a strength training session, a weight training session, squats, press-ups, bicep curls, whatever, and then you do half hour on the spin bike. I think that's probably what they mean by that, as negating the results. Yeah. And I would agree, in general, I would try and separate the two, because I think that most people are better off if every time you hit the gym, you have a very defined goal for that session. My goal is to do a strength training session, or my goal is to do like a high intensity interval session, or my goal is to do some steady state cardio, like zone 2 low work. And all of those things, if you are also in a calorie deficit, will contribute to you losing the beer belly after Christmas. So you could do 3 strength sessions a week, which would be a really positive thing for your health, for your fitness. And if you're eating well and getting in a calorie deficit, then that is going to help you to burn off body fat. You could do a couple of high intensity HIIT sessions a week. The same applies. You still need to be in a calorie deficit to burn that body fat. Or you could do zone 2 low heart rate cardio. Or you could do a couple of strength a week and a cardio, like a 2 hour or an hour, spin on the gym watt bike, or 20 minutes row, 20 minutes cross trainer. The answer is it depends, and there's which is the annoying answer to pretty much any strength and fitness question that you get in a general sense like this. It depends, and that is where you get the real. I'm not even trying to sell myself here, but I'm trying to sell my profession, and what a skilled coach will do is that you come to that coach and they then treat you like an individual to figure out what actually works for you.
Okay, brilliant. There's obviously a lot of different types of equipment as well, not just in this gym, but elsewhere. The world is your gym. So is there a couple of things that you think stand out for especially, let's say, action sports? So whether it's machines, probably not, kettlebells, like you've got body weight, calisthenics, I've written them down, free weights, cardio, that sort of thing. Is there
Can I be really annoying, Davey, and say that? I think they're. So I think. Asked me 5 years ago, and I was like, machines in the gym are fucking evil. They're bullshit. Everyone should just back squat and deadlift. And I'll be honest, this last year I've used the leg press and like the leg extension machine for your quads and the hamstring curl more than I ever have in my career, and that's because in this game people are banged up all the time. And yes, in an ideal world, everyone would get under a bar and squat pretty much, but you've broken your collarbone. Oh, you know what? The leg press is really fucking useful because I can get your legs really strong on the leg press because you can't hold a weight another way. Unless you've got a really expensive belt squat, which probably 5 gyms in the UK have got, So, let's be realistic. And so, so what am I getting to here, I guess? The bottom line is that it depends who you are and what you need. General guidelines for most people, it's really useful to have a little bit of space to move, to do some floor kind of work, to maybe do some travelling lunges, some animal crawls and stuff like that is really useful and really and enjoyable for a lot of people. And then at the heart of it, it doesn't need to be complicated. I'm a big believer in barbell with some plates, pull-up bar, a few dumbbells, kettlebells are great as well if your gym's got them, and if you can get taught to swing them properly. Like a lot of gyms, like my gym's got 2 rigs in it, you know, these rigs with all the different stations, so you can do monkey bars and all that, and it's wicked, and I'm really lucky to have it, and and it means you can really vary your training, but you don't need a gym with a rig and all of that.
No, I mean, to relate it back to my personal life a little bit, but only because of, you know, I've grew up training a lot. With racing, moto. Unfortunately, I've got to say that word. I think as I've got older, I've just sort of burnt out on being in gyms, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, cool.
So now I love functional outdoor fitness.
Picking up logs and rocks.
Picking up logs, man. I love that sort of stuff. And going like just outdoors. I've got a weight vest, which I love to go running in a weight vest. Oh, I love it.
Nice.
Oh, I throw that weight vest off and go out and go running and stuff. I've got kettlebells personally. You know, I think having a couple of kettlebells in your garden, just if you've only got
a set
10
in
minutes,
my garden.
15 minutes, just do 15 minutes of swings.
Yeah.
You're going to be good. So I only have a couple of weights, but I got a few years ago I got really into calisthenics. I think we are quite weather dependent in the UK, and going out
it's a bit harder in the winter.
Freezing cold bars sucks in winter. But I think I'm quite like most people out there, I think, that aren't necessarily training heavily. I like to do stuff which I enjoy.
For sure.
Obviously, I like to just go out into the woods and drag logs. And,
I'm a big believer in all of that, and I love that. And most people don't get enough nature.
No.
I mean, maybe mountain bikers do actually.
Yeah, maybe. My training partner, who now we don't train as much as we used to, James Swindon, he races enduro. He won the PMBA.
Oh, really?
So we used to train together quite a lot. Now, James is really into fitness and stuff, but we just used to do random stuff. We'd be like, let's just run up some hills today, and we'll just go and do that, and
mix it up.
And I think doing that's important as well for people. Just mix it up, whether it's
and it keeps it interesting, doesn't it? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've got kettlebells and a pull-up bar in my garden, and I can't really walk to my shed without doing a couple of pull-ups. You know, you're just like, I'll do a couple. If
you can do that, amazing.
It adds up.
It does add up. Yeah, it's all money in the bank. Okay, we'll just throw another listener question in. At Krusty Bus, best Instagram name ever. I have 2 young kids, so getting time to ride, let alone train, is difficult. I usually run in the morning and do a few push-ups. Any tips for someone with seemingly zero free time?
Okay, so the first part of my answer to this question,
I bet you get this a lot.
is it always sounds a little bit harsh, but I think most people have got more time than they realise. It's just that you're prioritising other things. And obviously you should prioritise your kids. I'm not saying they do that. But maybe there's something else in your life that you're prioritising, like Netflix or something. I don't know, Krusty Bus.
He loves Netflix.
Yeah, he might be like,
Narcos champion.
Deep in a hole. Exactly. Catching up on Game of Thrones or something. But it's normally the case that people have got a bit more time than they think, and they're prioritising other things. And so when you maybe appreciate that, you can then prioritise fitness and nudge something out. It's like that adding thing we talked about earlier. You can add some fitness in. So if that isn't the case, though, he sounds like he's doing well. If he's getting out for morning runs, if you're making time and being consistent, getting out in the mornings, then that's obviously a really positive thing. And so, how could you make better use of that time? I guess having some sort of actual program to follow. So even if it's a running program, with mountain biking, but whatever, even if it's a running program to improve his running speed or distance, or if it's a bodyweight program, because if he's already doing some press-ups, then cut the run a little shorter or skip the run one morning and do a bodyweight program. So it sounds like his circumstances might allow him to do that, and that might be sustainable for him to do. And then the other things are, I guess, so many people in this country possibly are listening to this right now, having lunch at their fucking desk in front of their computer, still sat down. And if it's you, then fucking stand up, all right?
Stand on one leg.
Stand on one leg. Do a lap of the office. Don't take the lift. While you're listening to this podcast, walk down to the lobby, down the fire escape stairs, and back up, And actually, and it's just habit, isn't it? You get in the habit of being slumped in your chair at lunchtime, where maybe you've got 45 minutes to go for a walk or to grab loads of gyms have 20-minute lunchtime classes. you can go and bang one of those out, or you can do the body weight thing in the park by work and still have time for a shower and then to eat some lunch. I think lunchtime is, for busy people with families, I know the evenings can be really hard, unless you train really late at night, which again means you're going to bed late and eating late, which isn't always ideal either. So I think the lunchtime can be maximised. And then there's also commuting. You know, how do you commute? Not everyone can cycle commute, you might live too far away, but you might be able to park further away than you do at the moment. Do you have to park at the office? Or, you know, like for instance, my wife, we put the bike on the roof of the car, partly because you can't park in fucking Bristol, and she parks it at the park and ride. Parks at the park and ride, and then cycles the last 2k.
Brilliant.
And it's only 2k each time with a bit of a hill, but that's 4k a day, 20k a week, you know, and it adds up. It's activity, and it all adds up. So it's just trying to get those little micro doses of exercise. And it might be that in the evening, as part of fun family time, you can do some planks while your kids
throw yoga on the TV.
Or your kids do bombs off the sofa onto you while you plank, you know, simulate getting roosted or something on the moto track or whatever, you know.
That's a good one, for sure.
But whatever, just do it.
I've started recently, if I watch TV in the evening, which is quite rare, just stretch while you do that. Even if it's for an hour, because my mobility is terrible, which you'll probably see shortly.
I'm always telling people that.
Just sit and stretch. Just sit in a pose for however long.
I'll give people mobility programs, and they're like, when should I do it? And I could say, 3 times a day, but they're not going to fucking do it. So I say, in the evening, after dinner, after a shower, when you're nice and chilled out, do it then.
Just chill and do it, watch TV if you have to.
Do it in front of the telly, on the rug, in front of the fire, with the cat, you know, it's all good.
We'll throw another listener question in. At Kerno Freeze, I'm a full-time builder, part-time enduro racer. If you had limited time to train, what workout am I going to do to get the most out for racing?
Okay, so that's a really good one from Kerno, so I'm guessing he's from Cornwall. So I've coached over the year quite a few people in similar situations who do really physical jobs, and then they kind of come to the gym having like carried hods all day or something, and they're kind of expecting me to beast them a bit and like smash them in the gym. And actually, for you guys, I think it's a bit different. It's, you know, if you weren't doing mountain biking, you just wanted to look good, then we could probably just lift a load of weights and get you hench. But if you want to have enough energy to then ride your bike on the weekends or evenings, then, you know, your job is going to keep you pretty strong. You know, if you're a builder, wheelbarrows and stuff like that, it's hard work.
It is hard work. I've done some labouring in my years, man. It's brutal.
I did a load of track building with Architrail, doing tarmacking on the pump tracks.
Right. Oh yeah, with the whacker plate.
Oh no, and all of that, and it's savage.
It's brutal.
And so for these guys, I think a real focus for your training needs to be looking after yourself, because how many builders end up with bad backs and stuff like that? And electricians all bent over in cupboards all the time. So your first focus needs to be maintenance, i.e., so it might be some mobility, it might be learning to properly like brace and create tension, so that you can be safer at work and not do yourself in. So maybe go and see a coach, a really good coach, who can teach you those techniques and teach you the deadlift really well, because that deadlifting in the gym can then transfer to you being safer at work, and then maybe being less fatigued at work, you know. And so when you are at the gym, think maintenance and looking after yourself. And then with the work you do, I would suggest that the strength work would be, pull some heavy weights, but maybe a little less volume than someone else. And by volume, I mean the total number of sets and reps you do. So maybe instead of doing 5 sets of 2 reps of deadlifts, you might do 3 sets of 2. Okay, so you leave a little bit on the table. You can still get stronger, but you're not just knackering yourself out after a long day on the site. And then, it's just about managing your energy, really. If you've had a quieter day on the site, or you know you've got an easier job, you're like doing final fix instead of building block walls, then you go harder.
Ramp it up.
If you've been getting thrashed and it's been cold and wet outside and you're burning 1,000 calories just keeping warm in the snow, you know, then actually your session needs to be a whole lot easier that evening. And that's where programs need to be really fluid. So have a program, have a rough plan, and then you need to really adjust it. And don't think that at the end of the day, if you're really knackered and do less, that you're letting yourself down. To me, that's, you know, you modify the session, you still do something that's constructive, and then you can still make progress over the long term rather than doing your back in or just getting ill because you're doing too much.
I feel off the back of that, there's almost like bragging rights, isn't there, with feeling like shit, basically, you know, like feeling sore. Yeah, there is bragging rights in that, though, isn't there? And it's not smart at all.
Being a martyr, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just, exactly. And just turning up to the gym, like dragging yourself in there.
It's not good.
I'm like, oh, you shouldn't be here. You need that energy to heal, to get better.
Next one, we got a listener question at Emerald_MTB. I don't have access to a gym, so what bodyweight exercise / routines would you recommend, and what sort of protein supplements of shakes would you suggest? We'll do that at the end. But
cool. Yeah, no worries. So, bodyweight. Again, which exercises? Everyone's different, and he might have specific needs. But as a very broad thing, you got to think, right, I'm going to do some sort of squats, do some single leg work, and now with body weight, single leg work is really where it's at, because you know, you could do 100 squats without a weight, but actually the idea is to get stronger, so you create more force, and if you just do more squats, you get better at doing squats, you don't really get stronger, if that makes sense. Yeah. So you could do single leg work, so step ups, lunges, maybe building up to doing a pistol squat, which is like a real display of single leg strength. And then just think about your upper body in two ways, so pushing and pulling exercises. So you got your classic press ups, but we always need to balance that with pulling exercises. So for instance, pull ups, chin ups, and what I would call a horizontal row or a body weight row, where you'd be under a bar or maybe like some suspension trainer straps that are maybe around waist height, and you pull yourself, so your arms are out in front of you rather than above you, and you pull yourself towards the straps or the bar. And it's the opposite of a press up, basically. And that is a small kit requirement, having a bar, but if you go down the bodyweight route, only doing pressing work, because you've got nothing to pull against, we're going to end up with problems with your shoulders, with your posture, and you won't be actually that strong on the bike if you can't pull.
I think one of the fun things as well is like think outside the box.
Yeah, man.
So go for a walk and look around, because around you where you live, there'll be something you can use. You know, whether it's, by me, just for example, we've got a bridge, a train bridge, which is an amazing pull-up bar. You know,
hanging over the tracks.
Oh, it's similar. No, it's just a bridge. But we've got that, and then there's dip bars, which are just a gate. You know what I mean? There's so many things you can just adapt.
There's stuff at loads of the parks. Like around me, there's, you know, and if it's quiet and there's no kids there, you can use a playground.
Pull-up bar easily on some swings.
It's all
keep
good.
your pants on, people.
And you can go and do pull-ups on the monkey bars in the playground if it's quiet. And you know, there's lots of opportunities out there to do that, or just get a pull-up bar in your garden or in a doorway.
They're not expensive, are they, to get a pull-up bar?
No, exactly.
Sure.
And it's a really good investment.
Brilliant. Next one, at Orange Bikes Fans. I'm finding it difficult to find balance between too much time I should be spending. Let me start again. At Orange Bikes Fans, I'm finding it difficult to find balance between how much time I should be spending strength training versus what bike time.
Okay.
Jeez, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, I think.
Bloody hell.
Maybe it's your handwriting there.
Maybe, mate. You can tell I got tired last night,
Okay, so how can you tell if the balance is out between strength training and, like, he says what bike, but pedaling basically, whether it's indoors or outdoors. So I guess the first thing is, where are you at the moment and what are you training for? So are you training to do a mountain bike marathon that requires you to ride 10 hours at a time? Or are you training to do a downhill race that requires you to ride 3 minutes at a time? You know? So think, what am I training for specifically? And if it's just trail riding, then that's fine as well. And then you've got to think, well, in relation to that, how am I at the moment? So for downhill, is it the fact that you're too gassed by the bottom and you just can't concentrate, so your heart rate's through the roof? Or is it that you don't feel strong enough at the bottom of the run? And those two different things there give you different answers to what you should be spending your time doing. And it's the same if you're a trail rider and, you know, you go for a long ride with your mates, and as soon as it's over 25k, you're struggling, you know, then, you know, maybe you need to work a bit more on your base aerobic fitness and endurance. Although, is that right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Although, having said that, being stronger would help your endurance as well, just to confuse you. But yeah, so that's the first thing I'd look at, I'd say, is look at the gaps. You know, what do you need as an individual in relation to your goals or your event or your style of riding? You know, you put those two together and it will give you an answer. And then, you know, across the week, you've only got so much energy. At the moment, maybe you're doing like loads of gym, not much riding. How do you feel? Do you feel good? Do you feel you recover between sessions?
Yeah.
Or do you feel pretty knackered and you're going to the gym sore, you're getting on your bike sore all the time? And you can look at that in two ways. You either need to recover better by eating better, sleeping more, look after yourself, get a sports massage, or you're doing too much, you need to back it off a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Similarly, if you're just hitting the bike all the time and doing loads of high intensity there, chances are your appetite can go through the roof and it can take a lot out of you. You're going hard on the lungs all the time. Maybe you pick up colds and respiratory things easily. Maybe you need to lay that off a bit and do a bit more strength, you know?
Yeah.
So it's that appreciation of where you're at is the annoying answer, as usual. It depends. Sorry.
Brilliant, brilliant. Let's do, actually, this one follows on quite nicely. At William J. Danter.
Oh yeah, I know, Will.
Oh, there you go. When coming back to strength training and riding, how can you tell if you're doing too much?
Yeah, it's that your body will tell you. You know, if you're picking up injuries and getting colds all the time and stuff like that, then that's definitely a sign that you're either doing too much or you're not recovering enough, okay? Which are kind of same but different, you know? So
do you use anything yourself as far as tracking blood work or sleep or anything like that?
So I don't use any like apps or anything like that. You've got things like heart rate variability which you can use, which you get like a sensor that can either go on your finger or a chest strap, and then that plugs into an app. And that gives you information about, I guess, to put it simply, kind of your well-being on that day. How are you? Are you fresh and good, or are you a bit below par that day? And then that can inform how hard you go on that day. Yeah. And similarly, so if you're doing too much and you're sore all the time, you're tired all the time, and you're finding it hard to stick to your regime, to your plan, then, and you don't think it's going to be sustainable, then you need to back it off a bit. Or it may be that you think you've got enough time and it is sustainable, but you're not eating well. You're staying up all night fucking swiping your phone on Instagram instead of going to bed.
Yeah.
You know, I go to bed at 9 o'clock every night.
Really?
Yeah, I go to bed at 9 till 6 every night.
Brilliant.
Sleep like a baby.
Wow.
Because I have to get up at that time to be at the gym for 7. So that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I have to go to bed at 9.
Okay.
If I didn't start work till 9 o'clock, I'd probably get up later. I'd probably go to bed at 10. But
amazing.
That's I go to bed at 9 o'clock, if not a little earlier sometimes. You know. Yeah. And so that recovery is super important. You know, and it's what you eat, it's what you drink, it's sleep, it's meditation, it's maybe foam rolling, it's maybe a sports massage. Yeah. You know, what can you do to help you recover more?
Excellent, excellent. What should we do? Should we go get a workout in?
Yeah, should pump some iron, do some high fives and all that. And
so people listening, we're gonna go. Ben and I are gonna do a pretty short workout.
Yeah,
hopefully. A very basic guide / to a mountain bike fitness program, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. This is just, I guess, this is typical of the way I write a program. Okay. It's a little shorter than my normal programs, just to get it done. But hopefully it'll be interesting. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. And
with a bit of luck, there will be a video in the description for you to watch. So go check that out. It'll give you a quick sort of like breakdown of what we're going to do. And Ben has very kindly given us this plan for free. And there'll be a link in the show description to pick that up. Yeah. And there's also an offer that's going to go along with it as well. So we'll give you information of that. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break now, and then we'll break down what we just did, and finish off listener questions, and also talk about recovery and recovery.
Yeah, recovery. Yeah, a little more in depth on that.
Okay.
Awesome. Right, let's hit it.
Let's go do a workout. Easy. Okay guys, I thought I'd just really quickly interject to clarify there is a video and there is a 4-week free training plan. Both of them are in the show description, so just click below. You can download the training plan and the video is up on YouTube. I wasn't too sure if I'd be able to make the video because I've never made one in my life really before, but it is there, so if you want to use it as a resource, feel free. Okay, let's get back on with the podcast.
Mate.
All right, we are back. Feeling more alive.
Happy days. Gains have been fucking banked.
Start like Vin Diesel now, so that'll be it.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so if you are, well, hopefully you are listening. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing with this podcast. So me and Ben just got a workout in. It's the one that we're going to make available. It's a free program. You can follow it. Hopefully it gives you the motivation to carry on, either by contacting Ben or whatever. So we're going to break down really quickly what we just did. From a personal experience, it was a tough workout actually. Like the more you obviously focus on those solid, good reps rather than just rushing through it, which I think a lot of people, if you train on your own, you'll just rush through and just like, yeah, I got 10 in, next thing. But when someone's watching over you and going, slow down, like it makes it a lot more.
Yeah,
tough.
I'm a bit of a stickler for like correct form and slowing people down and just feeling what you're doing, getting the correct tension, the correct positions, and I guess that's where I earn my money, to be honest.
True, that's very true.
Doing that because just helping get it bang on the money, safe, and then just getting what we want out of the exercise rather than going through the motions, which I think is quite common.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you did well, mate. You killed it. I can see you trained before. Like it wasn't a total car crash. You move well, and you made my life pretty easy, which is good.
Good to hear.
Yes, mate.
Appreciate it. I'll take that as a little compliment.
Yeah.
So let's just break down really quickly then what we just did. I mean.
Yeah. So if you have a look, if you do download the PDF program, you'll see how I lay things out. We started off. We just did a little mobility because, we've been sat down talking for an hour and a bit beforehand. Just sat on the leather sofas at the gym. And then I know you do a lot of driving, so we just did a little mobility to open up your hips, open up the hip flexors, and we did a little pigeon stretch, and then we did a couple other moves there just to get your body more able to get into the positions that we want it to get into, basically. Okay. Yeah. And then we just did a little movement-based warm-up. We did some lunges and just got you moving. So nothing crazy, just nice and simple. And the idea is at the end of the warm-up, you're ready to do some work, basically, rather than being ready to sit on a sofa talking to me. So, like I said, this is just a real short program that I put together for this. And what we did was 3 supersets. This is where you put 2 exercises together.
All right.
And so the first superset was a Romanian deadlift and a windmill press-up. And so what that means is you do the first set of the Romanian deadlift, and then the first set of the press-ups, you have a little rest, then you go back and do the deadlifts and the press-ups again, rather than just doing the exercises sequentially. And I think for most people, just doing their own training, and like the people said earlier with the questions, most people don't have loads of time. This is a really time-efficient way to train, doing supersets, and a real, like most of the coaching I do at the gym here with people tends to be in that sort of format, like putting 2 together. Okay. And the objective isn't 2 exercises together to like smash it and nail yourself like some high intensity circuit training. It's just a good way to use the time, because while you recover for the deadlift, you can do your windmill press ups. It's different enough muscles that they can complement each other.
So basically, rather than just being stood there, waiting your minute or whatever, get something else in.
Exactly, we're making good use of your time, because everyone keeps telling me they don't have enough time. So this is
been a running theme, hasn't
it? Yeah, and it probably always will be.
Yeah.
So we did the exercises we did then. We did Romanian deadlift.
Yep.
Now, this is a deadlift variation where you really sit back into that hinged position, and if you look closely, you'll realise this is basically your like riding position on a mountain bike when you're going down a hill, or a motocross bike, and it's not even that dissimilar to how you might be on a snowboard and things like that. This is a basic athletic position, and I'd suggest that it's a really great exercise for life, just for having strong legs and back, and for sport. And I always use this as a building tool towards pulling deadlifts. So if you can do a Romanian deadlift, then you're going to be able to do a deadlift, And so if you can get that drilled in first, then I think it's a really good step towards a deadlift and to be able to deadlift with a good technique, basically. And then we paired that with a windmill press up, which is a nice deep press up where you then push up onto one arm, opening out your posture, pointing the other arm at the ceiling. But you'll see that in the video.
Hopefully.
And hopefully if we press record. And yeah, again, you get all the benefits of a normal press up, strengthening your upper body, pushing, and you also get all that single arm stability and strength through that shoulder as you support your weight all on one shoulder, basically. The second superset we did a dumbbell rear lunge, which again, like everything I do, it's just a simple exercise, but it doesn't need to be complicated. It's really just so effective at single leg strength, you know? And you just take a confident step backwards with a dumbbell in each hand, and then press the front foot in the floor and stand up tall.
Yep.
Repeat.
And again, it's not about picking up the biggest weight in the gym.
Yeah.
I went with 12s, manageable, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But if you're doing
and
them right,
good.
You'll feel it.
Exactly. And you know, you can program these differently. So you could do 5 on each leg, real fucking heavy, pure strength, single leg strength. Or we could do 10 or 15 on each leg, lighter weight, and then we're maybe getting a bit more muscle building, hypertrophy, into muscular endurance as well. And so it's a great exercise, and then you apply it in different ways depending on what you want out of the session or your program. And then we did a horizontal row, which is another staple of my training, and loads of people I coach are like, oh, rows again, but it's because they're pretty horrible, aren't they? They are pretty sick. You know, a lot of people think they're quite strong, and then they try and do those, and they're hard.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, so it's, what we're doing is, I described earlier, we're lying under a bar and pulling your chest to the bar, and we're balancing out the press-up work and keeping your back strong and your shoulders nice and strong and robust. And what we're doing as well is, you know, that obviously relates to the bike as well. You're pulling and pushing on the handlebars all the time.
Brilliant.
And great for your grip training as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people find you may get some neck training from that as well, because you're looking up at the ceiling, and if your neck's weak, then you're going to feel a strain in the front of your neck and throat. Yep. And that's a really good thing, because a stronger neck can be really helpful for crashing bikes, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I definitely felt that too.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Happy days. Then the final one we did, 'cause it's just a short workout, we did a pal-off press in a half kneeling position. And we chatted about this a bit, actually, because that one was new to you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah. Yeah, it was, of course, yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And we did it with a band, but you can do it with a cable as well. And what we talked about is the importance of those exercises that are about resisting rotation in your core and torso, rather than doing maybe just static core exercises, which have their place. It's a static hold, but resisting the band, trying to twist your body.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really applicable across a lot of sports, including bike sports. That ability to be strong in resisting rotation, and that's what
it's one of those as well that's quite deceiving. Like
if
you're watching the video, hopefully, it looks easy, I think. Well, hopefully.
And the first couple of reps are easy. You're like, what's Ben fucking doing, wasting my time with this nonsense?
But by the end of that workout, if you'd done 3 sets, you'd be feeling it, wouldn't you? You'd be feeling
and if it's easy, you go to a heavier band or a heavier cable, or and you adjust to your current level of strength and ability. And then we finished off with kind of a similar exercise, press up position plank. So on straight arm press up position with shoulder taps. So you just tapped alternate shoulders with your arm, really focusing on keeping the hips and shoulders level whilst you did it. And again, you're trying to resist rotation there as well. So it really complements the previous exercise. Yeah. So and that was our short workout. And now here we are.
Now here we are, breaking it down. That was fun. Mate, thank you so much. I really actually enjoyed it. Like I said, I think at the beginning of the podcast how I didn't really enjoy being in gyms anymore. But then when I get in one, I'm like, it's pretty rad actually.
Yeah, it's about that environment. And
it is.
Yeah.
And imagine getting in here with a few friends would be
good little crew. The only problem is they all fucking end up talking about tyres and wheel size and geometry and World Cup team rumours, and then you get no work done. So I have to crack the whip a little bit.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything we missed off really with actual, training the body.
I think just the message I always want to get across is it doesn't need to be complicated. And the most, regardless of how good your program is, whatever program you do, it's about doing it properly Yeah. And if that means paying for some coaching so you learn to deadlift properly, if it means paying for some coaching to even do a press up properly, because that's not easy for everybody.
No, it's not.
Then that's money really well spent for your general quality of life and long-term health, plus the benefits to your mountain biking, which I'd say, is what we're here for, but it's peripheral, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Excellent, dude. All right. Should we just do some of the...
You get a couple more questions, is it? Or
I'm trying to think. That's William. I've got one.
Yeah.
What are the biggest misconceptions in mountain bike fitness?
Oh, tricky.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not here to catch you off guard.
No. Yeah, thanks for telling me earlier. I think this is possibly broader than mountain biking, and just 2019, 18, 19 is this thinking that you've always just got to smash yourself until you're like a puddle on the gym floor, and appreciating that you can do some really productive work at lower intensities, whether that's aerobic work on the bike or longer rest periods so that your sets are better quality in the gym and things like that. And I think there are still people who think that mountain bike strength training should always be really light weights and high reps, and that actual pure strength training isn't relevant, and your 1 rep max or your 3 rep max deadlift isn't important, because I truly believe that raw strength, that ability to create a lot of force, transfers to every sport, and it totally transfers to your position on a bike, your ability to maintain that position, and your ability to put force in the pedals. So that big squat, that big deadlift, those powerful movements like cleans and stuff, if you're into the Olympic lifts as well, they transfer. Simple as that. And I think some people still are afraid to lift heavy, and a lot of women are afraid to do strength training, so it's going to make me slow and bulky and all that nonsense. But that's a whole other podcast.
That was one thing we've talked about as well, is like time in the gym and how much time you've got. But how about once you've set a program for somebody, how much time do you expect them to be in the gym? And what do you think is an optimal length of a program as well?
Yeah, for sure. So generally, an hour is a good amount of time. So that gives you enough time to warm up properly, get some good work done, and then at the end gives you like a few minutes to maybe do some breathing, like we talked about earlier, to calm back down before you carry on with the rest of your day. So, but for some people, 45 minutes is fine. And if you're a pro athlete with loads of time to recover, and all the support that goes with that, and you don't have to work a job, like another job, then you might be able to do an hour and a half of training, if you're in your 20s and your testosterone's good.
Are you aware of anything that the pros are doing which is pretty much like unachievable for most?
Just the amount of training they do.
Just the amount, maybe not really any resources or anything like that. It's just...
Well, I mean, if they're most mountain bikers are really underfunded, aren't they? So at the top of the sport, those guys will be getting the same sort of treatment and access to medical professions as a Premiership footballer. They'll be able to afford to and have sports massage, like cryotherapy. When you get hurt, they're not on a waiting list. They go to see the top specialist consultant in the country.
Like your boy in Red Bull,
Yeah, exactly. And that's the main difference. And then with their training, they're just able to do a lot more than you. They're training every day, 6 days a week probably, and sometimes twice a day. Should you or I do that? No way.
Probably not.
Maybe for a week. But no, it's a really bad idea. So calm down. Stop trying to worry what the pros do, because you're probably not a pro if you're listening to this. You might be.
Whoa!
I'm sure the Hook It listeners are absolutely pinned.
Oh man, there's a few out there. And also, one thing I was curious of is like mixing it up with different sports. Do you think there's any sport which really complements mountain biking, other than the dreaded M word of motocross?
Well, I think, if you survive motocross, it probably transfers really well, but you might end up going to see that consultant we talked about earlier. So that's a no-brainer. Loads of mountain bikers tend to be quite outdoorsy and get into climbing. And I think that climbing can be great because it can encourage a bit of flexibility and mobility training. Great for your upper body strength and grip strength. So climbing can be a good one.
Yeah,
I would just say anything that you enjoy doing that can be part of your lifestyle and routine, and that doesn't do you in. And I say that because, like running, I love running. We should all run. We're humans. We're meant to run. But running, like, people get injured running, like probably way more than mountain biking. Now, they're not breaking arms like mountain bikers, but they're going in with dodgy ankles and knees and hips and lower backs because they're not running well, because of a whole other podcast worth about modern running shoes versus barefoot and this and that. And if you can run and be injury free, then run. If every time you go for a run it writes you off, then you either don't run or you fix the reason why it's doing you in, basically. So
that's fair.
I can't think of any real specific sports that just cross over, but just ride a lot of different bikes. Ride your road bike, ride a BMX, ride the pump track. Veronique Sandler, who I coach, who's obviously most of you will have heard of, who's an absolute pinner and like fully sponsored up pro rider. She's mean on a unicycle.
No way.
So for real.
That'll work though. That's awesome for everything, isn't it? Balance, cognitive function, the whole thing.
Like. I mean, you look ridiculous. Sorry, Vero. But she's like, you've seen her on her Instagram. She's like, her and her bro like got a unicycle and they're sick on it.
It's funny.
So do it.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Roller skates, maybe. Who knows?
Roller skates. I used to play ice hockey, and that is bloody awesome. I felt just for like cardio.
That's a savage workout.
It is. That is tough. I remember like going back to that, having not played hockey for like 3 years. As a wake-up call, I'll just do a few sessions, and it's like, Jesus Christ. It's almost like going out for a bike ride when you've not ridden for 3 years, probably.
Yeah, or an uplift day, that's the one that would get you. If you haven't been on the uplift in a while, and you go somewhere rough, my goodness.
It's true, it's true. Excellent, dude. Excellent. I think that's pretty much all of the listener questions covered.
Cool.
So if you want, we'll just move on to some post-ride / recovery. First thing, I think, let's say you've been out for a long bike ride. What do you think the first thing should be that you do after you get back to the car or home or whatever it is?
Okay, cool. So I guess, the first thing is, before you think about like recovery shakes or eating, is that just let yourself, your whole body and everything just calm down a little bit first. So a few breaths, just bring it back down, rather than you're still panting and out of breath and it's like, I've got to hit my recovery shake. And like smashing it down, but your body's just not ready to accept that yet. It's in the totally wrong state. So first of all, calm back down to like resting-ish heart rate, nice and chilled. And now we're in a state where you're in a position to start recovering. And that might be a recovery shake. It might be real food. It might be going home and not having those things until an hour later. It doesn't really matter that much for most of us. Okay. I would suggest that you should hydrate a bit with some water, possibly with some electrolytes as well, or you can do like your own stuff with a little like Himalayan pink salt or something. And just start to calm things down. If you've done something like an uplift day, or you've just finished a trail that's just dropped you into the car park with your heart rate through the roof because it's really intense, then actually you do really well to spend 10 minutes just pedaling around the car park slowly. So you're doing what you'd call a cool down. Some people call it a warm down. That doesn't quite make sense. So I call it, to me at least. So I'd call it a cool down, where you just bring that heart rate from like 180 down to 100, just gradually over 5-10 minutes, and then you can do that breathing I talked about. And now that is like proven to boost your recovery. They get to the top of one of those mental climbs in Tour de France, sprint finish, the Col de Tourmalet, and then those poor bastards who've been suffering all day, you know what they do? They go and sit on a turbo and spin down. Cool down, exactly.
Imagine that after that ride.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just the thought of my bum on that saddle any longer is savage, isn't it? I
know.
But,
okay. And then as far as like the rest of the day, let's say,
so then, you've then expended a load of energy that you need to replace through calories, okay? Probably a lot of that is going to be replacing with carbohydrate. Okay, now avoid like the really sweet stuff like your Haribos and stuff like that, and try and go more real food. Or a lot of shakes have got a mixture. Like I don't use anything at the moment. When I did, I used TORQ, and they've got a real nice recovery drink that actually tastes good, didn't mess my tummy up, and it's got nice natural ingredients, which is something I really value. And it's protein and carbohydrate.
Whey
mix.
Protein probably.
Yeah, it was a whey protein. I think they do have and I don't know actually. I can't remember if they've got a vegetarian, vegan option as well. Now, a lot of people get too tied up on the details here about post-workout window to eat and stuff like that. And what you got to think about is, yes, maybe, if you get that shake in or those calories in within that 15 minutes to an hour after training, this is a marginal gain. And actually, if you're not sticking to the stuff we talked about earlier and eating a decent diet with real food and all that stuff, then it doesn't fucking matter when you have your shake, because actually you just need to eat a good diet consistently. If you've got everything dialed in, and you're fit and you're competitive and you're really trying to push your performance and that sort of thing, then it makes sense to get that in at the optimum time. But that's icing on the cake. Yeah. What's most important is that you have a good meal at some point after training that replaces those calories, that gets enough protein to repair the muscles,
how many people finish up riding and just hit a McDonald's on the way home?
Yeah, the Macca's, exactly.
It feels so good, but it's so wrong, isn't it? It's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
so true.
Preparation
is the one.
If
you can have something in the van ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're squared away, you've got a little Tupperware and you pull something out.
You'll be less tempted as well by the Macca's on the way home, won't you?
Exactly. And although if they all get back in the van with it, it does smell good. And you got your Tupperware, and you feel like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I having McDonald's? But yeah, I must admit, me and my mate Joe, who I mentioned earlier, who's like my first client and good mate, we got into a real bad habit a couple of seasons ago after races, because we drive to all the races together, like Sunday night dirty KFC on somewhere down the M5 to M6, and we always seem to be on, going up to Scotland or somewhere. We always stop for dirty KFC on the way home. But
should know better, Ben.
We've broken that habit now and replaced it with a positive habit.
Good.
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Well, there's the M5, the really nice vegan sausage roll.
No, you got the nice farm shops there.
You have on the M5,
There's two of them, M5.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So good. They do an amazing stew in there. And it's not even expensive. It's like £5
for
a stew. It's mega.
It's tidy.
Yeah. Awesome. You touched on really. In fact, no. Let's do a listener question.
Yeah.
At Hayden Davies 74. What exercises and stretches do you recommend for a 44-year-old man to keep him out on the trails for years to come?
Cool. So we're just talking about maintenance, really, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I guess the first question is, turn it around. What is keeping him off the trail at the moment? If it's a sore lower back, what is it that's keeping him off the trail? And if there's something specific, then I would say a broad mobility regime is good.
Okay.
Just doesn't have to be complicated. We're just trying to take all your joints, ankle, knee, hip, through a full range of motion most days.
Yeah.
Rather than just the seated range of motion like we are now, like the driving position, your laptop position, which is probably what's doing the damage to your mobility and flexibility, is people spend too much time sitting down.
Yes.
Looking at their phones and stuff. So, things that reverse desk posture are always going to be good, that open up your posture. So, like some sort of basic yoga things, like a cobra in yoga and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or we did some band pull-aparts at the start of the session to warm up.
Yeah.
And you have a rubber band and straight arms, and you pull your arms apart so the band goes across your chest. And this is just, I called it anti-desk work, didn't I? It was about opening your posture to prepare you for the training, but it's just a generally positive thing. And then the other thing is, as a 44-year-old man, I don't know this Hayden, but what's going to keep you off the trails as a 44-year-old man? A lot of them is going to be because they're overweight, So we've talked about that.
Yep, we've covered that.
Yeah, try and get that weight down to a healthy place. It's going to be prioritising time. And also, if you're getting left behind by younger lads or stronger riders, then
buy an e-bike.
Yeah, buy an e-bike. Don't buy one of Ben's programs, buy an e-bike. Totally. There's a whole other thing. Yeah, I'm an e-bike lover, just for the record. But buy an e-bike or get stronger. Yeah.
Amazing.
Or both. Get strong pedaling the e-bike when it runs out of battery.
Yes. As far as supplements go, we just touched on it really briefly. I guess you get asked this a gazillion times every day, but what sort of supplement regime are you on, if any?
Yeah.
Do you recommend any or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm consistently throughout the year, I'm on omega-3 fish oil and a multivit. And then throughout the year, I will take probiotics for certain periods of time. Not specifically, I just take it until I run out, and then I normally don't order it for a few weeks, and I take it again. It is what it is, you know. Yeah. And then performance-wise, thinking more around sport, I do tend to have a protein shake after training, and a protein shake isn't necessarily better than real food. A protein shake is just convenience, because after training you want to get some protein in, you want to get some calories in, and you might want some carbs as well, And a protein shake does that wherever you are, because you just need the powder in your shaker, and you can always get water, compared to meal prep and Tupperware or trying to find healthy food at the garage after, So, excuse me. So, for guys, people who train before work, then a protein shake's a bit of a no-brainer. It's just the most convenient way to get those calories in, unless you're then going home to have breakfast and a shower before you go to work. Yeah. Which you might do, that's cool.
Which is also a way you can incorporate your recovery if you do a cold shower.
You
a good
can
breakfast
go
in
kill
there
yourself in the shower, drinking your protein shake still on one leg, and that's all good. But for me, a protein shake is not a must-have, it's convenience. The only time I'd say that really it's really helpful is, if you're like a real string bean and you're trying to put on a bit of muscle and you're struggling. Some people, believe it or not, struggle to eat enough calories. It's not a problem I've ever had. But some people struggle to get enough calories, especially if they want to get bigger and stronger. Okay. Especially then if they're riding bikes, which burns loads of calories.
Off, yeah.
And and so a protein shake is a really great thing to have maybe between meals, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, to boost your protein intake and boost your calories to help you pack on a bit of extra muscle and strength, basically, for those people.
Okay. Yeah. Brilliant. Good answer, dude. Good answer. One thing I wanted to talk to you about was sleep, because that's something that I think a lot of people do overlook. Personally, I love sleep. Obviously, who doesn't? Yeah. But I've got really into it over the last sort of 6 months. There's some amazing resources. You've got there's a Joe Rogan podcast with, I wrote it down actually, Matthew Walker, and a book by Nick Littlehales called Sleep.
Okay, cool.
And I've just been way more mindful of how I sleep, the quality of sleep, and not necessarily just trying to get, like you said before, you must get, what's that, 9 hours?
Yeah, I'll do 9 a night, solid.
Solid
pretty
9 hours sleep.
Like 7 nights a week.
Okay, awesome. Now unfortunately with my job, a lot of the time I'm up early, work late, so I'm taking more of an approach of incorporating naps into the day, which I love a nap.
Man.
I'll jump in the back of the van, eye mask on, it's really gay, but geeky. Eye mask on, binaural beats, you ever tried those? They're amazing.
Oh, they noise cancelling.
Noise cancelling headphones that plays brainwave music.
That sounds nice, like whale noises and stuff.
Mate, and just wind down fully. So that's something that's a good tip. Sleep's massive, right? That's when your body's recovering.
Yeah, I'm a massive believer in napping if your lifestyle allows it. Most people can't, unfortunately.
But again, it's almost like bragging rights. Oh, I'm knackered, I've only had 4 hours. It's
I'm still going.
Yeah. It's not.
But actually, and you know what? That was me in my 20s, and I was just out boozing and drinking and out all night, and then up in the morning with the boys doing runs and stuff. But it's not optimal at all, and it catches up with you. The bottom line is, if you want to perform well, you need to sleep well. Yeah. It's as simple as that, and perform in the broadest sense of your whole life. So I think there's a few things. Number one, let's say you sleep 8 hours a night, which I think is achievable for most people. That's 1/3 of your life, yeah? And yet people, assuming that you've got enough money to mountain bike, you can probably afford to spend like 500 quid on a really good mattress.
True.
But they never do. They get like the cheap 150 quid mattress and stuff like that. Or, you know, my wife just got this amazing pillow, and I'm like, I need this pillow in my life. And
she bought one for herself.
Yeah, I know, not one for me, exactly. And I'm like, I need one of these pillows. And you think, oh, it's 50 quid for a pillow, that's mad. But then it's 1/3 of your life. And you think, well, you spend that on a pair of trainers that last you a few months and you wear for a few hours a day, and it's bonkers. So spend money on making your bed as comfortable as possible.
And I'm not going to say, right?
And the room. Blackout blinds. So it's totally pitch black in there. It's got to be quiet, no ambient light in there. If it means moving your bedroom from the front of the house by the busy road and the street lamp to the back of the house, and it's a smaller room, it doesn't matter, you know? Do that. Or, you know, you've got to sleep in a good environment. Cool as well, not too hot, and
ditch
then
the TV.
Try
to leave your phone outside. That's a huge one.
Don't you should not be on your Instagram when you email in bed. Your bed's for two things. It's sleeping and whatever else you do.
The other thing, snoring.
Spanking, whatever.
Sleeping and spanking.
Sleeping and spanking, either on your own or with a consenting adult.
We're not recommending either.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
So
Okay.
Sleep. Do it more.
Yeah.
And you know what as well? Like, we're joking there, but it's a serious one. Kids, there'll be loads of parents listening to this. I'm not going to tell you how to bring out your kids. I've been a dad for 18 months, so it's kind of not relevant to me just yet. But if your kids are on their phone till midnight every night, and then they've got a TV and an Xbox in their room, and you don't really know how much they're using it, and they're getting 6 hours sleep a night or 5 hours sleep a night, and it's broken because their phone goes off with WhatsApps from their friends, then that's on you, because they're fucking kids, they're teenagers, they don't know better, and it's on you to do something about that, because kids are not getting enough sleep, and then they're ruined at school, and then that's why they're drinking Monster Energy on the way to school, and then we got this, it's a whole slippery
vicious
slope.
Cycle,
It's brutal. Kids are sleeping less now than ever, and it's been shown again and again. And when you learn at school in the day, when does that actually get put in your hard drive in your brain? It gets put in the hard drive when you go to sleep, which is why babies sleep so much, because they're learning 24/7, and then they sleep, and then that gets locked in there. If you're not sleeping, you're not learning, you're not developing. So have the tricky conversations. Be that annoying dad who's not cool, or mum, or whatever,
or husband,
or husband,
literally,
or
boyfriend,
exactly,
anything,
and take that phone off them.
It's true.
Lock it in a drawer at night, because right, 9 o'clock, you give me your phone, I pay the bill anyway, it's going in the drawer, and you can have it in the morning when you go to school, if you even need a phone.
We've got one of those really cheap timers, so the Wi-Fi goes off. 11 p.m. So that's it. You're done. Game over. 11 p.m. Wi-Fi's off.
And there's some people who tell you your Wi-Fi box is going to fry your fucking brain as well. There's a whole other
we'll go down that
thing.
rabbit
So
hole another time.
Maybe it's a good thing to turn it off at night, but who knows? That might just be conspiracy theories, but who knows?
I don't know. I'm not taking the chance.
Turn it off.
It's not normal, is it, having it around you? So. All right, dude. Should we do one last question? Is that okay?
Yeah, let's hit it.
At 0160, he's 6 months out from breaking his scaphoid, wrist, and doing some nerve and tendon damage. Do you have any wisdom on how to strengthen grip and wrist strength? Okay,
so the first thing I'd say is anything to do with scaphoid and anything to do with nerves and stuff. It needs proper attention rather than kind of online advice like this. So the first thing I'd say is, before you start strengthening and thinking about strengthening from a gym or strength coach point of view, is that process has to start with a professional, like a physio or rehab person, and that's super important. And if you haven't been referred through the NHS, then get yourself referred, be pushy, and if you've got the time and money, then going private, you get the same level of care probably, you'll just get it in a more convenient timeline. Once that is the case, then there's two things that you need to address really. The first one is that range of motion at the wrist. So if you imagine a press-up position, you've got a right angle between your hand and your forearm. Can you do that pain-free and go even a little past 90 degrees? Because whilst that isn't necessarily important for riding your bike, it's really important for crashing your bike, because you are going to fall off your bike again. And if your wrist can't do that, and go to 90 degrees or further, then you're probably going to do it again. You're back to square one. So you need to work to get that range with your physio, or by just doing some basic stretches and movement and things like that.
Okay.
And then the second part is that strengthening the grip. And this doesn't need to be complicated. You could do some farmer's walks where you hold a weight by your side and you walk, which is a really great exercise to do full stop. You could do horizontal rows like in our program, really great for the grip. If the bar is uncomfortable post-injury, then a lot of people are going to be better off doing that on some straps like a TRX, a suspension trainer, because that will let your wrist be in more comfortable positions as you do the row. Similarly, you can hang off of a pull-up bar.
Amazing, hanging's amazing.
Yeah, hanging's really good for your posture as well. And if you've been sitting all day, or if you've done heavy lifting, then hanging can help to like decompress your body a little bit as well. So it's positive from that point of view too.
Brilliant.
So I think it just pick stuff up basically.
Okay.
Use your grip.
Yeah.
There's no real like secrets. You know, there's all sorts of things like power balls and stuff like that. I'm not convinced, I'll be honest. Like, it's quite fun.
Yeah.
And if you've got one and use it, you know, it probably won't do you any harm. But I wouldn't worry about going out to buy one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
And just with the grip as well, this sounds dodgy, try to grip things of different girth.
Ask around your mates, see what they've got.
Exactly. And I think on that note, let's fucking mic drop. Let's fucking wrap it up.
Sick, dude. All right, before we do wrap up, how can people get involved? I know you've got your online course, which I really want you to mention, because that's super cool.
Thank you, mate. So I've got a couple of things like a bodyweight program that you can download as a PDF, but I think my best program at the moment is called the Complete Mountain Bike Program, and it does what it says on the tin. It's a monthly subscription. Every month you get strength training sessions, you get conditioning sessions that you can do on bike as well, so endurance, and also intervals and sprints that are appropriate for that time of year based on a northern hemisphere riding sort of season. You also get a mobility guide, loads of extras in there. There's videos for all the exercises, so things like crystal clear, so you know what to do. And you get a bit of support from me if you need anything or specific questions. So that's normally £32 a month, which it's an investment in money, but you get what you pay for. It's a quality program, and also a lot of people are spending money on gym memberships, and they're not getting stronger or faster.
Right.
So think of this as making your gym membership better value, basically. Is where I see
it.
For
sure.
And so if you use the code, what was it? Hook it.
HKT Strong.
HKT Strong. Sorry.
HKT Strong.
Which will be in the notes. HKT Strong. That will give you 50% off your first month subscription. So that'll be £16, and that runs out on the 11th of February. So that gives you about a month to get signed up, and then it's normal price after that. So if you've got any questions, then you can drop me an email, ben@thestrengthfactory.uk. You can follow me on Instagram, strengthfactory_coach. Feel free to have a look at some of my stuff on there. Give me a follow, give me a share, and slide into the DMs if you'd like to.
No dick pics.
No dick pics, thank you. Unless it's got like a right angle in it or something. And then, and I promise to get back to you, basically.
Cool.
And I'd love to hear your feedback, like on this episode. You know, I answered questions. If you've got any more questions and I haven't answered them, I'll do my best to answer all of those as well. I'll be keeping on the Hook It Instagram for the next week or so after this comes out, and I'll do my best to answer all your questions.
Brilliant. Appreciate it, man. It's been rad.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah,
I feel like we could sit and chat for hours.
Yeah,
about
I hope
stuff.
I didn't waffle too much. To be honest, I feel like
I've
I've gone on a little bit, which I tend to.
It's good. Good resource. It'll be a really good resource for people to.
Yeah, I hope so. Just the message is keep it simple, simple, sustainable. Yeah.
Rad.
Do it. And
cool.
And don't forget to ride your bike and have fun. Yeah.
Have what?
Have fun.
Oh, what's that?
I don't know. Yeah.
Sick.
That's cool.
That's rad.
Nice one. Thanks very much, mate. Cheers.
Easy. And there you go, folks. Episode 65 with Ben Plenge is in the bag. Huge thank you once again for everybody for listening. If you have enjoyed the podcast, please, there's a couple of things you can do which will really, really help. Number one is tell your friends. If you can share it on social media, please go over and tell Ben you enjoyed listening. Anything like that really, really helps. But secondly, head to iTunes and leave a review. Not only will you be able to possibly win yourself some Saks goodies, but you'll also be helping support the podcast. So please, if you can do that, that would be very, very much appreciated. We'll be back towards the end of January with another episode, a crazy cool guest, and I'm really, really excited to sit and chat to this guy. And that is it. Have a great, whatever it is, 2019. Let's say that. It's the start, so let's have a great 2019. Hopefully you are motivated as after this podcast. Rock and roll. Keep it up, folks. Peace out.